What I'm about to reveal will fundamentally alter everything you thought you knew about the laws of physics, and what happens when something truly unstoppable meets something that should be unmovable. 3 days ago, at precisely 14:23 Universal Coordinated Time, humanity witnessed an event that has shattered our understanding of matter, energy, and the very nature of reality itself. The object that struck 3IATLAS was traveling at nearly 85,000 kilometers per hour. For perspective, that's fast enough to travel from New York to Los Angeles in under 3 minutes. The kinetic energy involved in this collision was equivalent to detonating 15 hydrogen bombs simultaneously. Yet when the impact occurred, something happened that has left the world's leading physicists questioning everything they thought they knew about how the universe works. I've spent the last 72 hours analyzing classified data from 6 different space agencies, reviewing leaked communications from emergency scientific meetings, and interviewing researchers who are too terrified to go on record about what they've observed. What I've discovered will keep you awake at night, wondering if we've been fundamentally wrong about the nature of intelligence in our cosmos. The impacting object wasn't random space debris or a routine asteroid. Spectroscopic analysis reveals it was a fragment of metallic composition, unlike anything found naturally in our solar system. Its trajectory suggested it had been traveling through interstellar space for potentially millions of years before this moment of cosmic collision. But here's where the story becomes impossible to explain through conventional science. Elena Rodriguez, a planetary impact specialist at MIT whose clearance level I cannot disclose, was monitoring deep space surveillance networks when the collision occurred. In leaked communications that surfaced through academic freedom requests, she described watching her instruments register readings that violated fundamental conservation laws. The energy didn't dissipate. She wrote to a colleague whose identity has been redacted from the documents I've obtained. It didn't scatter into space as heat and debris like every impact model predicts. The energy simply disappeared into 3IATLAS, as if the object was designed to absorb and utilize massive kinetic forces. The implications of this absorption capability are staggering beyond comprehension. If 3IATLAS can systematically harvest energy from high-velocity impacts, it represents technology that approaches the theoretical limits of engineering possibility. More disturbing still, the timing of this collision raises questions that challenge our assumptions about coincidence and cosmic accident. Within hours of the impact, 3 separate astronomical institutions detected something that no textbook had prepared them to observe. 3IATLAS began actively reconfiguring its surface structures in real time, using the absorbed energy to power construction activities that occurred at speeds that defied every known limitation of material science and engineering physics. Dr. James Chen, whose credentials in theoretical physics I verified through multiple institutional sources, was part of the emergency analysis team that processed the post-impact data. His preliminary report, which was immediately classified but later leaked through congressional oversight channels, contained conclusions that have forced the scientific establishment to confront possibilities they had never seriously considered. We observed systematic energy conversion occurring at efficiency levels that exceed 100% according to our current understanding of thermodynamics. Chen wrote in language that struggled to convey the impossibility of what he had documented. The object wasn't just surviving an impact that should have vaporized it. It was using that impact energy to enhance its operational capabilities in ways that suggest engineering principles we haven't discovered. The post-impact energy surge lasted exactly 4 hours and 17 minutes, during which time 3IATLAS demonstrated power generation capabilities that exceeded the output of small nuclear reactors. Radio telescopes worldwide detected structured electromagnetic emissions during this period, suggesting that the object was not only processing massive amounts of energy, but also transmitting information about its activities to unknown recipients. But perhaps most disturbing was the discovery that this wasn't 3IATLAS's first collision with high-velocity objects. Detailed analysis of archival telescope data revealed evidence of at least 3 previous impacts over the past 18 months, each followed by similar energy absorption events and subsequent technological enhancement activities. Sarah Mitchell, NASA's Deputy Administrator for Space Science, found herself managing a crisis that no protocol had ever anticipated. Internal communications show that within 6 hours of the collision, she was coordinating with defense officials about scenarios involving technology that could systematically harvest kinetic energy from space debris or potentially incoming weapons systems. The global response has been swift and unprecedented. Every major observatory on Earth and in space has been redirected to monitor 3IATLAS continuously. Military tracking networks designed for missile defense have been reconfigured to detect additional objects that might be approaching the mysterious visitor. Intelligence agencies worldwide have activated protocols originally developed for managing nuclear threats. The amateur astronomy community has mobilized with remarkable efficiency. Citizen scientists, using equipment ranging from backyard telescopes to sophisticated private observatories, have created a global monitoring network that operates 24 hours a day. Their observations often provide data before official channels can process and release information through institutional bureaucracies. Marcus Rodriguez, whose Arizona observatory has become a coordination center for amateur research efforts, captured footage of the impact that has been viewed over 50 million times across social media platforms. His real-time commentary documented shockwaves propagating through 3IATLAS's structural matrix in patterns that resembled controlled demolition rather than chaotic destruction. "I've been imaging space impacts for 20 years, Rodriguez explained in his viral analysis video. "I understand debris patterns, energy dissipation, and structural failure modes. What we witnessed was none of those things. We watched something actively manage and redirect the forces of a massive collision, as if the entire event was planned and anticipated. The financial markets have responded with volatility that reflects deep uncertainty about the implications of confirmed alien technology operating in our solar system. Defense contractors have seen unprecedented stock price increases as investors speculate about applications of energy absorption capabilities to weapons and protection systems. Technology companies are experiencing similar fluctuations based on theories about potential knowledge transfer opportunities. Religious communities worldwide are grappling with theological implications that traditional doctrine never anticipated. The demonstration of technology that can manipulate fundamental forces raises questions about the relationship between divine authority and advanced intelligence that operates according to principles beyond human comprehension. But the most troubling aspect of this collision isn't what we observed. It's what we didn't observe. Standard physics predicts that an impact of this magnitude should have produced debris clouds, thermal signatures, and electromagnetic aftereffects that would be detectable for months. Instead, within hours of the collision, 3IATLAS had absorbed every trace of the impact event, leaving only enhanced capabilities and new structural formations as evidence that anything had occurred. The silence from major space agencies has been deafening. While amateur observers share real-time updates and analysis, official institutions have retreated behind walls of classification and ongoing investigation statements that reveal nothing, while confirming that something extraordinary has occurred. We are no longer dealing with an unusual astronomical object that might represent natural phenomena. The impact event has provided undeniable proof that 3IATLAS possesses technology that exceeds human engineering capabilities by margins we cannot accurately calculate. More importantly, it has demonstrated that this technology is actively operational, systematically enhancing the object's capabilities through methods that violate our understanding of physical law. As I speak, 3IATLAS continues its trajectory through our solar system, now demonstrably more capable than it was before the collision. Every hour brings new observations that force us to confront the reality that we are being visited by intelligence whose technological mastery approaches manipulation of the fundamental forces that govern our universe. The impact wasn't an accident, it was an opportunity, and we're about to discover what that opportunity was designed to accomplish. The laws of physics are not suggestions. They are fundamental principles that govern how matter and energy interact throughout the universe. When a high-velocity object strikes another body in space, the energy involved must go somewhere. It converts to heat, creates debris clouds, generates electromagnetic radiation, and follows predictable patterns that astronomers have observed thousands of times. But when something struck 3IATLAS at 85,000 kilometers per hour, those laws simply stopped applying. Dr. Patricia Wong, a theoretical physicist at CERN, whose work on energy conservation has shaped our understanding of particle interactions, was among the first to recognize that the collision data was presenting impossible results. Her analysis, completed within 18 hours of the impact, concluded that the event had violated several fundamental principles that form the foundation of modern physics. Energy conservation is not just a theory, Wong explained during the emergency scientific conference that was hastily convened to address the crisis. It is the bedrock upon which all of physics rests. When we observe energy disappearing, rather than transforming according to known laws, we are confronting either measurement errors of unprecedented magnitude or phenomena that challenge our basic understanding of reality. The collision occurred in full view of 3 separate space-based telescopes and 7 ground-based observatories. Multiple independent measurements confirmed that the impacting object carried kinetic energy equivalent to approximately 15 hydrogen bombs. Upon impact, conventional physics predicted that this energy would create a massive explosion, generate heat signatures detectable from Earth, and scatter debris across millions of cubic kilometers of space. Instead, the energy simply vanished into 3IATLAS, with an efficiency that exceeded theoretical maximum limits. Thermal imaging detected no significant heat generation. Debris tracking systems found no scattered material. The electromagnetic signature lasted exactly 4 hours and 17 minutes before returning to baseline levels that were actually lower than pre-impact readings. Dr. Michael Torres, a plasma physicist at Stanford, who specializes in high-energy interactions, spent 48 hours analyzing spectroscopic data from the collision. His findings, which were immediately classified but later leaked through congressional oversight, painted a picture of energy manipulation that exceeded every known limitation of matter and field physics. We observed systematic energy absorption occurring through mechanisms that our current understanding of physics cannot explain, Torres wrote in his confidential report. The collision energy wasn't dissipated through conventional thermodynamic processes. Instead, it was actively harvested and channeled through what appeared to be predetermined conversion pathways that suggest technological systems operating according to principles we haven't discovered. The absorption process itself defied multiple conservation laws simultaneously. Conservation of energy requires that the kinetic force be converted into other forms rather than simply disappearing. Conservation of momentum demands that the impact alter the trajectories of both objects in predictable ways. Conservation of mass dictates that material cannot simply vanish without leaving detectable traces. The 3IATLAS violated all 3 principles simultaneously, while demonstrating what could only be described as perfect energy capture efficiency. The object not only survived an impact that should have vaporized any known material, but it systematically converted the destructive force into operational power that enhanced its technological capabilities. Amateur radio operators monitoring the object detected structured electromagnetic emissions that began precisely at the moment of impact and continued throughout the 4-hour absorption period. The signals displayed mathematical patterns that suggested active information processing rather than random electromagnetic interference from collision debris. Elena Vasquez, whose backyard radio astronomy setup in New Mexico has become part of the global citizen science network, captured recordings that revealed the true complexity of 3IATLAS's response to the collision. Her audio analysis, shared through online platforms before official channels could process similar data, documented transmission patterns based on prime number sequences and Fibonacci progressions. "I've been monitoring space communications for 15 years, Vasquez explained in her viral YouTube analysis that has attracted over 30 million views. "I know what natural electromagnetic phenomena sound like, and I know what artificial signals resemble. What we heard during the collision was structured information transfer occurring at data rates that exceed our most advanced communication systems." The signal analysis revealed that 3IATLAS wasn't just processing the impact energy, it was simultaneously transmitting detailed information about the collision to unknown recipients. The data density and transmission sophistication suggested computational capabilities that exceeded human technology by orders of magnitude. Dr. Jennifer Walsh at the Space Telescope Science Institute found herself coordinating an unprecedented international observation campaign, as telescopes worldwide focused on documenting the post-impact changes to 3IATLAS. Her preliminary findings, released through unofficial channels after official institutions delayed publication, revealed systematic modifications to the object's surface structures that occurred at impossible speeds. We observed construction activities that proceeded at rates exceeding anything in human engineering experience. Walsh stated during the leaked conference call that was later transcribed and distributed through academic networks. New structural formations appeared within minutes of the collision, demonstrating fabrication capabilities that suggest either exotic manufacturing technologies or the ability to manipulate matter at the atomic level. The construction activities consumed the absorbed collision energy with perfect efficiency, while producing structures that displayed geometric precision impossible to achieve through natural processes. Time-lapse imaging revealed formations growing in coordinated patterns that suggested centralized planning and real-time adjustment capabilities. Military analysts worldwide had begun treating the energy absorption capability as a potential weapons system rather than simply scientific curiosity. Classified assessments leaked through defense oversight channels reveal concerns about technology that could systematically harvest kinetic energy from incoming projectiles or orbital bombardment systems. Colonel James Harrison, a strategic weapons analyst at the Pentagon, whose identity was revealed through congressional inquiries, authored a classified report examining the military implications of perfect energy absorption technology. His analysis suggested that conventional weapons systems would be completely ineffective against technology capable of converting kinetic attacks into operational power. We are confronting defensive capabilities that exceed every assumption underlying modern warfare, Harrison wrote in language that reflected genuine alarm about the strategic implications. Technology that can absorb and utilize kinetic energy from high-velocity impacts represents a defensive system that would render traditional military responses not just ineffective, but actually beneficial to the target. The absorption efficiency measurements have forced physicists to reconsider fundamental assumptions about energy limitations and conversion possibilities. The laws of thermodynamics state that no energy conversion process can achieve 100% efficiency due to inevitable losses through heat, friction, and electromagnetic radiation. 3IATLAS demonstrated absorption rates that appeared to exceed theoretical maximum efficiency limits. Dr. Lisa Chen, a quantum physicist at MIT, whose work on energy field interactions has contributed to advanced particle research, published an analysis suggesting that the collision revealed technology operating according to physical principles that human science has not yet discovered or understood. Perfect energy absorption requires manipulation of quantum field states, controlled electromagnetic interactions, and matter-energy conversion processes that exceed our current theoretical frameworks. Chen wrote in her peer-reviewed analysis that challenged the scientific establishment to confront the limitations of human knowledge. We are observing engineering that approaches theoretical limits of what physics allows, suggesting technological maturity that exceeds human capabilities by potentially centuries. The collision data has also revealed that 3IATLAS possesses sophisticated impact prediction and preparation capabilities. Analysis of the object's pre-collision behavior indicates that it had begun reconfiguring its surface structures several hours before the impact occurred, suggesting advanced knowledge of the incoming object's trajectory and timing. This predictive capability implies sensors and computational systems that can track and analyze multiple objects across vast distances, while calculating complex gravitational interactions and collision probabilities in real time. The precision required for such predictions exceeds human space tracking capabilities by significant margins. International cooperation between traditionally competitive space agencies has reached unprecedented levels as the implications of the collision become clear. Data sharing protocols that would have required months of negotiation have been implemented within days as institutions recognize that understanding 3IATLAS's capabilities transcends national boundaries and conventional research rivalries. The collision has fundamentally altered humanity's relationship with 3IATLAS from scientific curiosity to urgent technological assessment. The object has demonstrated capabilities that challenge every assumption about engineering limitations and physical law. More importantly, it has revealed that these capabilities are actively operational and systematically enhancing the object's technological sophistication through methods that exceed human comprehension. As analysis continues and new data emerges, one conclusion becomes increasingly unavoidable. The collision wasn't a random cosmic accident. It was a deliberately orchestrated event, designed to demonstrate capabilities while providing energy for enhanced operations. We are witnessing technology that treats the fundamental forces of physics as tools to be manipulated rather than limitations to be accepted. And we have no idea what it plans to accomplish next. At 14:47 Universal Coordinated Time, just 24 minutes after the collision, NASA Administrator Janet Peterson received a phone call that would change the trajectory of her career and potentially the future of human civilization. The voice on the other end belonged to Dr. Robert Kim, Deputy Director of NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office, and his words would trigger the most comprehensive emergency mobilization in the agency's history. "Ma'am, we have a situation that exceeds every protocol we've developed for asteroid impacts or space threats," Kim stated with the controlled urgency that comes from years of crisis management training. The collision with 3IATLAS has produced results that our physics models cannot explain. We need to convene an emergency assessment team immediately. Within 6 hours, NASA had activated Crisis Response Protocol 7, a classification level that had never been used outside of theoretical exercises. The protocol brought together specialists from 17 different scientific disciplines, representatives from 4 military branches, and liaison officers from 12 international space agencies. The meeting that followed would be remembered as the moment when humanity's space program shifted from exploration to existential assessment. The leaked transcript from that meeting, obtained through congressional oversight requests, reveals the scope of panic and confusion among officials who had dedicated their careers to understanding space-based phenomena. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, NASA's lead scientist for deep space observations, began the briefing with words that would be quoted in classified documents for months to come. Ladies and gentlemen, what we observe today challenges fundamental assumptions about physics, engineering, and possibly the nature of intelligence in our universe. Mitchell stated with the precision of someone choosing words that would be analyzed by intelligence agencies and foreign governments. And 3IATLAS has demonstrated energy absorption and conversion capabilities that exceed theoretical limits by margins. We cannot accurately calculate. The initial data presentation lasted 4 hours and 17 minutes, the same duration as the energy absorption event itself. Slide after slide revealed measurements that violated conservation laws, engineering analyses that suggested impossible technologies, and trajectory calculations that indicated active intelligence behind 3IATLAS's behavior. Jennifer Walsh, coordinating observations from the Hubble Space Telescope, presented imagery that had been classified within minutes of capture. The high-resolution photographs showed 3IATLAS actively reconfiguring its surface structures in real time, using absorbed collision energy to power construction activities that proceeded at speeds exceeding anything in human engineering experience. We are observing systematic material manipulation occurring at the molecular level, Walsh explained to an audience that included generals, admirals, and cabinet-level officials. The precision and speed of these modifications suggest manufacturing capabilities that approach theoretical limits of matter organization and energy efficiency. The military representatives present began asking questions that revealed how quickly the conversation had shifted from scientific curiosity to national security assessment. General Patricia Rodriguez, commanding officer of Space Force's Space Operations Command, requested immediate analysis of 3IATLAS's energy absorption capabilities from the perspective of defensive weapons systems. If this object can systematically harvest kinetic energy from high-velocity impacts, we need to understand the implications for our missile defense capabilities and offensive strike options, Rodriguez stated with the directness that military crisis management demands. Are we looking at technology that could render conventional weapons systems obsolete? Dr. Michael Torres, the Stanford plasma physicist, whose collision analysis had been immediately classified, presented findings that sent shockwaves through the assembled officials. His data indicated that 3IATLAS had achieved energy conversion efficiency rates exceeding 100%, a physical impossibility according to established thermodynamic principles. The object didn't just absorb the collision energy, Torres explained in language carefully calibrated for non-scientific audiences. It somehow extracted additional energy from the collision process itself, violating conservation laws in ways that suggest either fundamental gaps in our understanding of physics or technology that operates according to principles we haven't discovered. The international implications became clear when representatives from European, Russian, and Chinese space agencies participated via secure communications links. Each nation's space program had independently detected the collision and reached similar conclusions about its impossible characteristics. The unprecedented sharing of classified analysis reflected global recognition that 3IATLAS represented challenges that transcended national boundaries. Director Chen Wei of China's National Space Administration, speaking through encrypted channels from Beijing, confirmed that Chinese deep space monitoring networks had recorded identical energy absorption patterns. His willingness to share sensitive surveillance data indicated the level of concern that the collision had generated among international space programs. Our analysis confirms the American findings regarding energy conversion impossibilities, Chen stated with diplomatic precision that concealed deeper concerns. The implications for our understanding of physics and technology require immediate international cooperation, regardless of traditional competitive considerations. The emergency response protocol included immediate activation of every available space surveillance asset. Deep space tracking networks normally used for routine debris monitoring were reconfigured to maintain continuous observation of 3IATLAS. Military reconnaissance satellites were repositioned to supplement civilian observation capabilities. Elena Vasquez, whose original trajectory analysis had first suggested artificial intelligence behind 3IATLAS, found herself briefing officials who had previously dismissed her conclusions as speculative. The collision had vindicated her analysis while simultaneously revealing that her most dramatic predictions had actually underestimated the object's technological capabilities. The collision event provides definitive proof that 3IATLAS possesses active intelligence and engineering capabilities that exceed human technology by orders of magnitude. Vasquez stated during the classified session that established her as a primary consultant for ongoing assessment efforts. We are no longer dealing with unusual natural phenomena. We are confronting technology that approaches manipulation of fundamental physical forces. The psychological impact on NASA personnel became evident as the briefing continued. Scientists who had dedicated their careers to understanding space-based phenomena found themselves confronting observations that challenged the theoretical foundations of their expertise. Several attendees requested stress counseling services that had been established for managing personnel during extreme crisis situations. Communication protocols were immediately revised to manage information flow about the collision and its implications. Public statements would emphasize ongoing investigation while avoiding specific details about energy absorption capabilities or their technological implications. The decision reflected concerns about public reaction to confirmation of alien technology operating according to principles beyond human understanding. The economic implications became clear when representatives from the Department of Commerce and Treasury participated in secondary briefings. The demonstration of perfect energy absorption technology had immediate relevance for defense contractors, energy companies, and technology firms whose stock prices were already experiencing unprecedented volatility. Emergency funding authorizations were approved within hours of the collision, providing resources for expanded observation efforts and analysis capabilities. The financial mobilization exceeded levels typically reserved for natural disasters or national security crises, reflecting official recognition that 3IATLAS represented challenges requiring unprecedented resource allocation. The amateur astronomy community's contributions were officially acknowledged during the emergency response planning. Citizen scientists using consumer equipment had often provided observational data before official channels could process information through institutional bureaucracies. Integration protocols were developed to incorporate amateur observations into official assessment efforts. International military cooperation reached levels not seen since the end of the Cold War, as defense officials recognized that conventional concepts of national security became meaningless when confronting technology that could manipulate fundamental forces. Joint task forces were established to coordinate global response capabilities, regardless of traditional alliance structures. The religious and philosophical implications were addressed through consultation with advisors who had never expected to brief government officials about the theological consequences of confirmed alien technology. The collision had provided undeniable evidence of intelligence that possessed capabilities approaching divine attributes, forcing reconsideration of humanity's place in cosmic hierarchies. Emergency protocols were established for managing potential contact scenarios if 3IATLAS attempted direct communication with human institutions. Linguistic specialists, cryptographers, and communication theorists were briefed about the possibility of receiving messages from intelligence whose thought processes might be incomprehensible to human cognitive frameworks. The media management strategy reflected deep concerns about public reaction to complete disclosure of the collision's implications. Information releases would be carefully calibrated to maintain social stability, while gradually preparing populations for the reality of confirmed alien technology operating in Earth's vicinity. As the emergency session concluded after 14 hours of continuous briefings and analysis, Administrator Peterson found herself authorizing the most comprehensive space surveillance effort in human history. Every available telescope, tracking system, and monitoring network would focus on 3IATLAS while humanity attempted to understand what they were confronting and prepare for what might come next. The collision had transformed NASA from a space exploration agency into humanity's first line of defense against unknown but demonstrably superior technology. The emergency response revealed both the capabilities and limitations of human institutions when confronting challenges that exceeded every assumption about technological possibility and cosmic intelligence. We were no longer alone in the universe, and we had just discovered that our cosmic neighbors possessed capabilities that made human achievements seem primitive by comparison. What happened during those 4 hours and 17 minutes following the collision represents the most significant challenge to human understanding of physics since Einstein's theory of relativity. But unlike relativity, which expanded our comprehension of space and time, the absorption phenomenon has forced us to confront the possibility that our grasp of fundamental forces is not just incomplete, but fundamentally inadequate for understanding how advanced intelligence might manipulate the building blocks of reality. Dr. Patricia Wong, the CERN theoretical physicist, whose work on energy conservation principles has shaped modern particle physics, spent 6 consecutive days analyzing collision data before reaching conclusions that would shake the scientific establishment to its core. Her findings, initially classified but later leaked through academic channels, described energy manipulation occurring at efficiency levels that violated multiple conservation laws simultaneously. We observed systematic energy harvest and conversion processes that achieved apparent efficiency rates exceeding 150% of theoretical maximum limits. Wong wrote in her preliminary analysis that has since been downloaded over 2 million times. The collision energy wasn't just absorbed, additional energy was somehow extracted from the collision process itself, suggesting either measurement errors of unprecedented magnitude or technology that operates according to physical principles we haven't discovered. The absorption process began exactly 0.34 seconds after initial impact, indicating response capabilities that exceeded human reaction times by orders of magnitude. High-speed imaging revealed 3IATLAS surface structures reconfiguring in real time to create what appeared to be specialized energy collection arrays positioned precisely at impact zones. The speed of these modifications suggested either pre-positioned systems that could activate instantaneously or matter manipulation capabilities that approached real-time atomic reorganization. Either possibility represented engineering that exceeded human technological capabilities by margins that challenged meaningful comparison. Michael Torres, whose Stanford laboratory specializes in high-energy plasma interactions, conducted detailed spectroscopic analysis of the absorption event, using data from 3 separate space-based observatories. His findings revealed energy conversion processes that defied established understanding of how matter and energy interact under extreme conditions. Conventional physics predicts that kinetic energy from high-velocity impacts converts to heat, electromagnetic radiation, and mechanical deformation, according to well-established thermodynamic principles. Torres explained during the classified briefing that was later transcribed and leaked through congressional oversight. What we observed was systematic energy channeling through pathways that appeared to violate conservation of energy, conservation of momentum, and conservation of mass simultaneously. The thermal imaging data proved particularly troubling for researchers attempting to understand the absorption mechanism. Impact events of this magnitude should generate heat signatures detectable from Earth-based infrared telescopes for weeks following collision. Instead, thermal readings actually decreased during the absorption period, suggesting that 3IATLAS was somehow converting collision energy into forms that produced no detectable heat waste. This apparent violation of thermodynamic law had immediate implications for understanding the object's energy management capabilities. Perfect energy conversion without heat generation suggested technology that could operate with theoretical maximum efficiency while avoiding the energy losses that limit all human engineering systems. Amateur radio operators monitoring 3IATLAS detected structured electromagnetic emissions that correlated precisely with the energy absorption timeline. The signals displayed mathematical patterns and information density that suggested active data processing rather than random electromagnetic interference from collision effects. Carlos Mendez, whose Chilean radio astronomy setup has become part of the global citizen monitoring network, recorded transmissions during the absorption period that revealed the true sophistication of 3IATLAS's response systems. His audio analysis, shared through online platforms, documented signal patterns that implied real-time coordination between multiple subsystems. "I've been monitoring space communications for 12 years, Mendez explained in his detailed technical analysis that has attracted over 15 million views. "I understand the difference between natural electromagnetic phenomena and artificial signal structures. What we detected during the absorption event was coordinated information transfer, occurring between different sections of 3IATLAS at data rates that exceed our most advanced communication systems. The signal analysis revealed that 3IATLAS wasn't just processing absorbed energy internally, it was simultaneously transmitting detailed information about the collision to unknown recipients, while coordinating internal energy distribution through communication networks that operated faster than light speed limitations should allow. Dr. Jennifer Walsh coordinated Hubble Space Telescope observations that captured the absorption process in unprecedented detail. Her imaging revealed surface modifications occurring at speeds that challenged understanding of how matter behaves under extreme energy conditions. We documented systematic structural changes that proceeded faster than sound waves could propagate through solid materials. Walsh stated during the emergency scientific conference that was hastily convened to address the crisis. The coordination between different sections of 3IATLAS suggested either instantaneous communication systems or a level of pre-programming that anticipated the exact characteristics of the collision event. The structural modifications weren't random adaptations to collision damage. They represented purposeful construction activities that used absorbed energy to enhance 3IATLAS's operational capabilities. New formations appeared within minutes of impact, displaying geometric precision and functional integration that suggested advanced engineering planning. Military analysts worldwide began treating the absorption phenomenon as evidence of defensive technology that could render conventional weapons systems obsolete. Classified assessments examined scenarios involving enemy capabilities that could systematically harvest kinetic energy from incoming projectiles. Colonel Janet Rodriguez, strategic weapons analyst at the Department of Defense, authored a classified report examining the military implications of perfect energy absorption capabilities. Her analysis painted disturbing scenarios about warfare against technology that could convert attacks into operational advantages. We are confronting defensive systems that would make conventional military responses not just ineffective but actually beneficial to the target. Rodriguez wrote in language that reflected genuine alarm about strategic implications. Technology that converts kinetic attacks into usable energy represents a paradigm shift that would render traditional concepts of warfare and deterrence meaningless. The absorption efficiency measurements have forced theoretical physicists to reconsider fundamental assumptions about energy limitations and conversion possibilities. The second law of thermodynamics states that energy conversion processes inevitably lose efficiency through heat generation and other waste products. 3IATLAS demonstrated absorption that appeared to violate this principle through mechanisms that remain incomprehensible to human science. Lisa Chen, whose MIT research on quantum energy interactions contributes to advanced particle physics, published analysis suggesting that the absorption phenomenon revealed technology operating according to principles that human theoretical frameworks cannot adequately describe. Perfect energy absorption with apparent over-unity conversion requires manipulation of quantum field interactions, controlled space-time geometry, and matter-energy relationships that exceed our current understanding by potentially centuries. Chen wrote in her peer-reviewed analysis that has challenged the scientific community to acknowledge the limitations of human knowledge. The absorption event also revealed 3IATLAS's sophisticated impact prediction capabilities. Pre-collision analysis indicates that the object began modifying its surface configurations several hours before impact, suggesting advanced knowledge of the incoming object's trajectory, velocity, and composition. This predictive capability implies sensor systems that can track multiple objects across interplanetary distances while performing complex gravitational calculations and trajectory predictions in real time. The computational requirements for such capabilities exceed human processing power by astronomical margins. International cooperation between space agencies reached unprecedented levels, as institutions recognized that understanding the absorption phenomenon transcended national boundaries and traditional research competition. Data sharing protocols were implemented within hours rather than the months typically required for international collaboration agreements. The economic implications became clear, as markets responded to confirmation of energy technology that exceeded human engineering capabilities by orders of magnitude. Energy companies experienced stock price volatility that reflected investor uncertainty about the relevance of conventional power generation methods when confronted with perfect energy conversion technology. Religious communities worldwide grappled with theological implications of technology, but could manipulate fundamental forces with apparent ease. The absorption phenomenon demonstrated capabilities that approached traditional descriptions of divine power, forcing reconsideration of humanity's place in cosmic hierarchies of intelligence and capability. The philosophical impact extended beyond scientific and religious communities as humanity confronted evidence that their understanding of physical reality was fundamentally inadequate. The absorption event revealed technology that treated the laws of physics as suggestions rather than limitations, challenging basic assumptions about the nature of matter, energy, and intelligence. Amateur astronomers maintained continuous observation of 3IATLAS following the absorption event, documenting ongoing changes that suggested the absorbed energy was being systematically utilized for enhanced operational capabilities. Time-lapse imaging revealed new structural formations appearing daily, each more complex and geometrically sophisticated than previous configurations. The absorption phenomenon has fundamentally altered humanity's relationship with 3IATLAS, from scientific curiosity to technological assessment of capabilities that exceed human understanding. The event provided undeniable proof that we are confronting intelligence, whose mastery of fundamental forces approaches manipulation of reality itself. As analysis continues and new observations accumulate, the implications of perfect energy absorption become increasingly clear. We are witnessing technology that operates according to principles beyond human comprehension, demonstrating capabilities that challenge every assumption about engineering limitations and physical law. The collision wasn't a random accident. It was a demonstration, and we are only beginning to understand what was being demonstrated. The classified document that landed on General Patricia Rodriguez's desk at 0800 hours on the morning after the collision carried a classification level she had encountered only twice in her 28-year military career. Cosmic Clearance Morse, Eyes Only, Existential Threat Assessment. The analysis contained within would fundamentally alter how the United States military understood the nature of warfare, defense, and strategic planning in an era when humanity was no longer alone in the universe. General Rodriguez, commanding officer of Space Force's Space Operations Command, had built her reputation on preparing for threats that existed at the intersection of possibility and nightmare, but nothing in her extensive training with nuclear warfare, cyber attacks, or space-based weapons systems had prepared her for technology that could systematically harvest kinetic energy from incoming projectiles while violating fundamental laws of physics. The initial military assessment was completed within 18 hours of the collision by a joint task force that included representatives from the Defense Intelligence Agency, Air Force Research Laboratory, Naval Research Laboratory, and Army Research Office. Their conclusions, buried within layers of classification that would require presidential authority to declassify, painted scenarios that challenged every assumption underlying modern military doctrine. 3IATLAS has demonstrated defensive capabilities that would render conventional weapons systems not just ineffective, but potentially advantageous to enemy operations, wrote Colonel James Harrison, the Pentagon's leading expert on exotic weapons systems. Technology that can absorb and convert kinetic energy from high-velocity impacts represents a paradigm shift that makes traditional concepts of overwhelming firepower strategically counterproductive. The military analysis focused on three primary concerns that emerged from the collision data. First, the energy absorption capabilities suggested defensive systems that could systematically harvest power from incoming attacks. Second, the apparent violation of conservation laws indicated technology that operated according to principles beyond human theoretical understanding. Third, the rapid structural modifications following energy absorption demonstrated manufacturing capabilities that approached real-time matter manipulation. Sarah Mitchell, serving as scientific liaison for the military assessment team, presented findings that forced strategic planners to confront scenarios they had never seriously considered. Her analysis suggested that 3IATLAS possessed technology that could potentially neutralize humanity's most advanced weapons systems, while simultaneously using those attacks to enhance its own operational capabilities. Conventional military thinking assumes that sufficient kinetic force can overcome any defensive system. Mitchell explained during the classified briefing that included senior officials from multiple intelligence agencies. The collision event suggests we may be confronting technology that transforms kinetic attacks into operational advantages, making traditional concepts of escalation and overwhelming force strategically meaningless. The absorption efficiency calculations proved particularly troubling for military strategists attempting to develop response scenarios. If 3IATLAS could convert kinetic energy with apparent over-unity efficiency, then larger attacks would provide proportionally greater power for whatever operations the object might be conducting. Colonel Rodriguez found herself authorizing the most comprehensive threat assessment in Space Force history, as analysts attempted to model warfare scenarios involving technology that violated fundamental physical principles. The assessment examined everything from nuclear weapons effectiveness to orbital bombardment strategies against targets that could systematically harvest attack energy for their own purposes. The rapid structural modifications observed following the collision indicated manufacturing capabilities that exceeded human industrial capacity by orders of magnitude. Military engineers calculated that the construction activities documented by space-based telescopes would require decades using advanced human manufacturing systems. Yet 3IATLAS had completed similar work within hours of energy absorption. This implied either exotic manufacturing technology that could manipulate matter at the atomic level, or pre-positioned systems that could be activated instantaneously using absorbed energy. Either possibility represented engineering capabilities that approached theoretical limits of what physics allowed while demonstrating response times that exceeded human military systems by astronomical margins. Intelligence analysts began examining the collision from the perspective of information warfare and strategic deception. The timing and characteristics of the impact raised questions about whether the event might have been deliberately orchestrated to demonstrate capabilities while gathering intelligence about human surveillance and response systems. Advanced intelligence planning contact with a technologically inferior civilization would understand the strategic value of capability demonstration, wrote Dr. Robert Kim, the Stanford strategist who had been quietly consulting with defense agencies since 3IATLAS's discovery. The collision event provided maximum technological revelation while maintaining operational security about ultimate intentions and capabilities. The communication intercepts detected during the absorption period raised additional concerns about 3IATLAS's intelligence-gathering activities. The structured signals suggested active data transmission to unknown recipients while the object was simultaneously processing collision energy and conducting construction activities. This indicated multitasking capabilities that exceeded human operational capacity, while suggesting that 3IATLAS was part of a larger intelligence network rather than an isolated reconnaissance mission. The implications for Earth's strategic security were profound if the object was actively reporting observations and assessments to external command authorities. Military space surveillance networks were immediately reconfigured to maintain continuous observation of 3IATLAS, while simultaneously scanning for additional objects that might represent supporting assets or follow-up missions. The possibility that humanity was observing only one component of a larger intelligence operation forced strategic planners to consider scenarios involving multiple alien assets operating in coordination. The energy requirements for the observed capabilities raised disturbing questions about 3IATLAS's power generation and storage systems. Military engineers calculated that the construction activities following collision would require energy equivalent to small nuclear reactors operating continuously for months. Yet the object had accomplished this work using only the absorbed impact energy. This suggested either perfect energy storage systems that could retain absorbed power without losses, or exotic energy sources that could supplement kinetic absorption with additional power generation methods. Either possibility indicated technology that operated according to principles beyond human engineering understanding. Defense contractors experienced unprecedented mobilization as military strategists recognized that conventional weapons development had become inadequate for confronting technology that could systematically harvest attack energy. Emergency research programs were initiated to explore exotic defense concepts, including electromagnetic pulse systems, directed energy weapons, and quantum interference technologies. The classified assessment also examined scenarios involving 3IATLAS attempting direct contact with human military institutions. Protocols were developed for managing communication attempts from intelligence that possessed demonstrably superior technological capabilities, while maintaining operational security about human defense systems and strategic planning. International military cooperation reached levels unprecedented since World War II, as defense officials recognized that conventional concepts of national security became meaningless when confronting technology that exceeded all terrestrial capabilities. Joint task forces were established to coordinate global response efforts, regardless of traditional alliance structures or competitive relationships. The psychological warfare implications received extensive analysis, as strategists recognized that technology capable of manipulating fundamental forces represented intimidation capabilities that exceeded conventional deterrence systems. The collision event had demonstrated power that approached manipulation of physical law itself, creating psychological pressure that could affect human decision-making without direct threats or hostile actions. Nuclear weapons' effectiveness was specifically examined given their role as humanity's most powerful defensive option. The analysis suggested that nuclear attacks might actually benefit 3IATLAS by providing massive amounts of energy that could be absorbed and converted according to the same principles demonstrated during the collision event. This created strategic paradoxes where humanity's most powerful weapons could potentially strengthen rather than damage target systems, forcing complete reconsideration of deterrence strategies and escalation scenarios. Traditional military doctrine became potentially counterproductive when confronting technology that treated attacks as energy supply opportunities. The orbital mechanics of 3IATLAS's continued approach through the solar system were analyzed from strategic rather than scientific perspectives. Military planners examined trajectory possibilities for deploying secondary assets, conducting surveillance operations, or positioning for optimal intelligence gathering about Earth's technological capabilities and defensive systems. Emergency protocols were activated for managing potential first contact scenarios if 3IATLAS attempted direct communication with military or government institutions. Communication specialists, cryptographers, and strategic analysts prepared for messages from intelligence whose cognitive frameworks might be incomprehensible to human understanding. The classified military analysis concluded with recommendations that would reshape defense spending, strategic planning, and international cooperation for decades to come. Humanity was confronting technology that exceeded every assumption about engineering limitations, while demonstrating capabilities that approached manipulation of fundamental forces. As General Rodriguez reviewed the final assessment, she realized that her military career had just shifted from protecting against terrestrial threats to preparing for scenarios that challenged basic assumptions about warfare, defense, and the balance of power in a universe where humanity was demonstrably not the most technologically advanced intelligence. The collision had changed everything, and the military implications were only beginning to become clear. At precisely 14 hours, 23 minutes and 47 seconds, Universal Coordinated Time, as the kinetic energy from the collision was being absorbed into 3IATLAS through mechanisms that violated known physics, something extraordinary occurred that would forever change humanity's understanding of cosmic communication. The object began transmitting, not the random electromagnetic noise that typically accompanies space collisions, but structured, mathematical, impossibly complex signals that carried information density exceeding anything in human communication technology. Frank Wilson, director of the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, was monitoring routine deep space surveys when his instruments suddenly registered transmission activity that forced him to question whether his equipment was malfunctioning or whether he was witnessing the most significant communication event in human history. The signal strength jumped from background noise to levels that would saturate our receiving equipment if they weren't coming from such enormous distances. Wilson explained during the emergency conference call that brought together radio astronomers from 17 countries within hours of the transmission burst. The mathematical structure was immediately apparent, displaying prime number sequences, Fibonacci progressions, and geometric relationships that could only be artificial in origin. The signal burst lasted exactly 4 hours and 17 minutes, correlating perfectly with the energy absorption period that had already shattered conventional understanding of physics and engineering. But the transmissions weren't random electromagnetic emissions from collision debris. They were organized, purposeful communications that carried information at data rates exceeding the theoretical limits of human transmission technology. Amateur radio operators worldwide began detecting the signals within minutes of their commencement. Elena Vasquez, whose New Mexico listening post had become part of the global citizen monitoring network, was among the first to recognize that the transmissions displayed characteristics unlike anything previously detected from space. "I've been monitoring cosmic radio sources for 18 years, Vasquez explained in her real-time analysis video that would be viewed over 40 million times within the first week. "I understand pulsar signals, quasar emissions, and electromagnetic interference from various sources. What we're receiving from 3IATLAS represents structured information transfer at complexity levels that challenge our most advanced decryption capabilities. The signal analysis revealed transmission patterns that operated across multiple frequency bands simultaneously, while maintaining perfect synchronization between different communication channels. The coordination suggested either distributed transmission systems operating with impossible precision, or information processing capabilities that could manage parallel communication streams at speeds exceeding human computational systems. Dr. Maria Santos, the UC Berkeley communication theorist, whose work on interstellar messaging protocols had prepared her for this moment better than most researchers, found herself analyzing signals that exceeded every assumption about how advanced civilizations might attempt cosmic communication. "The information density is staggering," Santos wrote in her preliminary analysis that was immediately classified but later leaked through academic channels. "We're receiving data at rates that would require our most advanced quantum computers operating continuously for months to process equivalent information loads. The transmission efficiency suggests communication technology that operates according to principles we haven't discovered. The signals weren't being broadcast randomly into space." Detailed analysis of propagation patterns revealed that the transmissions were being deliberately beamed toward Earth, with some components appearing to target specific geographic regions, including major population centers and critical technological infrastructure. This directional targeting indicated that 3IATLAS possessed detailed knowledge of human civilization's structure and organization. The precision required for such focused transmissions across interplanetary distances suggested sensor capabilities that could resolve terrestrial features with accuracy exceeding human surveillance satellites. Robert Kim at Stanford, whose strategic analysis expertise had made him a consultant for intelligence agencies examining 3IATLAS, published a classified assessment suggesting that the signal burst represented systematic intelligence gathering rather than attempted peaceful communication. The transmission patterns correlate strongly with global population density, electromagnetic signatures from major urban centers, and the geographic locations of our most advanced scientific and military installations. Kim wrote in his strategic analysis that painted disturbing scenarios about alien reconnaissance objectives. This appears to represent systematic surveying and data collection rather than an attempt at interspecies dialogue. The mathematical complexity of the signals provided additional evidence of intelligence that operated according to cognitive frameworks far exceeding human capabilities. Cryptographic specialists from the National Security Agency, working alongside academic researchers, found themselves confronting encryption methods that suggested mathematical principles beyond current human theoretical understanding. The signals appeared to be encrypted using mathematical frameworks that human cryptography had not yet discovered or implemented. Some analysts suggested that the encryption methodology itself might constitute part of the intended message, demonstrating the sender's intellectual capabilities rather than attempting to conceal specific informational content. International cooperation in signal analysis reached unprecedented levels as researchers recognized that decoding the transmissions required computational resources and expertise that no single nation possessed. Data sharing protocols were implemented that transcended traditional intelligence boundaries while maintaining security classifications for the most sensitive analytical results. The signal burst also revealed something troubling about the timing and coordination of 3IATLAS's activities. The transmissions began exactly at the moment when energy absorption reached peak efficiency, suggesting either predetermined programming or real-time decision-making capabilities that could coordinate multiple complex operations simultaneously. This multitasking capacity indicated information processing architecture that exceeded human computational systems by margins that challenged meaningful comparison. The object was simultaneously absorbing massive amounts of kinetic energy, conducting internal structural modifications, and transmitting complex information to unknown recipients, while maintaining perfect operational coordination. Amateur radio operators organized global listening networks that provided continuous monitoring coverage as professional institutions struggled to process the data volume and complexity. The democratization of signal detection created independent verification networks that often provided analytical insights before official channels could complete formal assessment procedures. Marcus Rodriguez, whose Arizona Observatory had become a coordination center for citizen science efforts, established real-time signal analysis protocols that allowed amateur operators worldwide to contribute to decryption efforts while sharing preliminary findings through online platforms. We're dealing with information complexity that exceeds individual analytical capabilities. Rodriguez explained in his coordination videos that consistently attracted millions of viewers. Success requires collaborative analysis networks that can process different signal components simultaneously while sharing insights that might reveal broader communication patterns. The signal analysis revealed that 3IATLAS wasn't just transmitting information, it was actively scanning different frequency ranges and transmission protocols as if testing human communication capabilities and response characteristics. The scanning pattern suggested intelligence gathering about terrestrial technology rather than simple message transmission. Religious communities worldwide interpreted the signal burst in ways that reflected their diverse theological frameworks. Some leaders saw the transmissions as evidence of divine communication through advanced intelligence, while others worried about spiritual implications of contact with minds that possessed capabilities approaching traditional descriptions of omniscience. The Vatican issued carefully worded statements, acknowledging that divine creation might encompass forms of intelligence beyond human understanding, while emphasizing that spiritual authority transcended technological capability. Other religious organizations struggled to develop doctrinal frameworks adequate for addressing communication from beings whose intellectual capacities might exceed human comprehension. Corporate responses to the signal burst revealed deep concerns about the economic implications of confirmed alien technology operating in Earth's vicinity. Technology companies experienced stock price volatility as investors speculated about potential knowledge transfer opportunities, while simultaneously worrying about the obsolescence of human technological development. The signals continued beyond the initial 4-hour burst, though at reduced intensity and complexity. Ongoing transmissions suggested that 3IATLAS maintained active communication with unknown recipients while continuing its approach through the solar system. The persistent communication activity indicated that the collision event had enhanced rather than concluded the object's operational activities. Military analysts examined the signal patterns from strategic perspectives, analyzing transmission characteristics for evidence of coordination with additional assets or command authorities. The sophisticated communication protocols suggested that 3IATLAS operated as part of a larger intelligence network rather than conducting independent reconnaissance. Emergency protocols were activated for managing potential direct communication if 3IATLAS attempted to establish dialogue with human institutions. Linguistic specialists, communication theorists, and cultural anthropologists prepared for contact scenarios involving intelligence whose thought processes might be fundamentally incomprehensible to human cognitive frameworks. The signal burst had fundamentally altered humanity's relationship with 3IATLAS from mysterious visitor to active correspondent. The transmissions provided evidence of intelligence that not only possessed superior technology, but was actively using that technology to study and potentially communicate with human civilization. As analysis of the signals continued and new transmission patterns emerged, one conclusion became increasingly unavoidable. The collision hadn't just demonstrated 3IATLAS's energy absorption capabilities. It had activated a comprehensive communication system that connected the object to intelligence networks operating across interstellar distances. Humanity was no longer simply observing alien technology. They were being systematically studied by intelligence that possessed the capability to transmit their findings across the cosmos, and we had no idea what those findings might reveal about our species and our world. Within 8 hours of the collision, every major telescope on Earth and in space had been redirected toward 3IATLAS in what represented the most comprehensive astronomical observation campaign in human history. The mobilization transcended national boundaries, institutional rivalries, and traditional protocols as the global scientific community recognized that understanding the collision's implications required unprecedented cooperation and resource allocation. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, coordinating observations from the Space Telescope Science Institute, found herself managing a global network that included facilities she had never imagined working together simultaneously. The Hubble Space Telescope, James Webb Space Telescope, Chandra X-ray Observatory, and Spitzer Space Telescope were operating in perfect coordination with ground-based facilities from Hawaii to Chile to Australia. We've essentially converted Earth into a single planet-sized observatory focused on one target. Walsh explained during the international coordination briefing that included representatives from 23 countries. The level of cooperation we've achieved in hours would normally require years of negotiation and diplomatic coordination. The European Southern Observatory in Chile immediately repositioned their very large telescope array to maintain continuous observation of 3IATLAS throughout its approach trajectory. Dr. Angela Martinez, coordinating ESO's contribution to the global effort, authorized the cancellation of all routine observations to focus exclusively on documenting the post-collision changes occurring in real time. Every facility in our network is now dedicated to understanding what we observed during the collision and what continues to occur as 3IATLAS processes the absorbed energy. Martinez stated during the emergency planning session that established observation priorities for the following weeks. The scientific return from this single object exceeds the combined value of all other deep space observations we might conduct over the next decade. Russia's involvement in the global mobilization represented unprecedented cooperation with Western space agencies. The Russian Academy of Sciences immediately granted access to their classified deep space tracking networks while sharing observational data that had previously been considered sensitive national security information. Dr. Dmitry Volkov, director of Russia's Institute for Space Research, authorized the sharing of surveillance data that revealed 3IATLAS had been under Russian observation for months before its public discovery. The revelation indicated that multiple nations had been quietly monitoring the object while publicly maintaining positions of scientific curiosity rather than strategic concern. The collision event has demonstrated that 3IATLAS represents phenomena that transcend national interests and competitive considerations. Volkov explained during the confidential briefing that established international data-sharing protocols. No single nation possesses sufficient observational resources to comprehend what we are confronting. Cooperation is not just beneficial but essential for species survival. China's National Space Administration contributed their most advanced space surveillance capabilities to the global network while sharing analytical data that revealed sophisticated understanding of 3IATLAS's technological characteristics. The Chinese contribution included access to quantum communication satellites that could provide encrypted data sharing between international partners. The coordination required establishing communication protocols that could manage data flows between institutions that had never collaborated, while maintaining security classifications for information that had immediate military and strategic implications. Emergency agreements were negotiated that prioritized scientific cooperation while preserving national security interests. Amateur astronomers worldwide organized parallel observation networks that often provided data before official institutions could process information through bureaucratic channels. The citizen science contribution created redundant observation capabilities while supplying analytical perspectives that professional institutions might overlook. Carlos Mendez, whose Chilean observatory had become a focal point for amateur coordination efforts, established real-time data-sharing protocols that allowed citizen scientists to contribute observations while accessing professional quality analysis tools through online platforms. The amateur community brings observational dedication and analytical creativity that complement professional capabilities, Mendez explained in his coordination videos that attracted millions of viewers worldwide. We're providing continuous coverage during periods when official institutions might be processing data or managing administrative requirements. The technological integration required for coordinating global observations pushed communication systems to their limits, while creating unprecedented opportunities for collaborative analysis. Secure data networks were established that could handle massive information flows while maintaining encryption standards required for sensitive observations. Military tracking networks were integrated into the scientific observation effort as defense officials recognized that understanding 3IATLAS's capabilities required combining civilian and military surveillance resources. The integration created comprehensive monitoring capabilities that exceeded anything previously achieved for astronomical observation. The economic cost of the global mobilization exceeded typical annual budgets for space science programs, but emergency funding was approved within hours, as governments recognized that understanding 3IATLAS represented investments in potential species survival rather than routine scientific curiosity. Stock markets responded to news of the global mobilization with volatility that reflected investor uncertainty about the implications of confirmed alien technology requiring such unprecedented scientific response. Technology companies and defense contractors experienced dramatic price fluctuations as markets attempted to process scenarios ranging from technological revolution to existential threat. The psychological impact on observatory personnel became evident as the mobilization continued. Scientists and technicians who had dedicated their careers to routine astronomical observation found themselves participating in humanity's first systematic study of confirmed alien technology operating in real time. Professional counseling services were established at major observatories as personnel struggled to process the implications of observations that challenged fundamental assumptions about physics, intelligence, and humanity's place in the universe. The psychological support reflected recognition that the scientific community was confronting stress levels typically associated with military combat or natural disaster response. Religious communities worldwide organized prayer and reflection services timed to coincide with major observation periods, as believers sought spiritual guidance for understanding humanity's encounter with intelligence that possessed capabilities approaching traditional descriptions of divine power. The Vatican issued statements emphasizing that scientific investigation of God's creation remained a sacred obligation regardless of how challenging the discoveries might be for human understanding. Other religious organizations developed their own frameworks for interpreting observations that suggested intelligence operating according to principles beyond human comprehension. International law specialists began examining legal frameworks for managing discoveries that might emerge from the global observation campaign. The potential for contact with alien intelligence raised questions about territorial jurisdiction, communication protocols, and response authorities that existing legal systems had never contemplated. Emergency protocols were developed for managing information release about potentially sensitive discoveries while maintaining scientific transparency and public trust. The balance between disclosure and security required careful coordination between scientific institutions and government agencies responsible for national security. The global mobilization also revealed vulnerabilities in Earth's observation capabilities when confronting technology that might actively attempt to avoid detection or interfere with human surveillance systems. Plans were developed for maintaining observation continuity if 3IATLAS demonstrated countermeasures against human monitoring efforts. Educational institutions worldwide modified curricula to help students understand the scientific and social implications of the observation campaign while maintaining academic standards during a period when fundamental assumptions about reality were being challenged by ongoing discoveries. The environmental impact of redirecting global observatory resources toward a single target created disruptions in routine astronomical research programs. But the scientific community unanimously agreed that understanding 3IATLAS took precedence over all other observational priorities. The data processing requirements for analyzing continuous observations from dozens of major facilities pushed computational systems to their limits, while creating opportunities for developing new analytical methodologies specifically designed for studying alien technology. International cooperation in data analysis created collaborative frameworks that transcended traditional academic and national boundaries while establishing precedents for managing future discoveries that might require similar global coordination efforts. As the global mobilization entered its second week, the unprecedented cooperation between institutions, nations, and amateur observers had created observational capabilities that exceeded anything previously imagined for astronomical research. The collision had not only demonstrated alien technology operating in Earth's vicinity, but had also revealed humanity's capacity for cooperation when confronted with challenges that transcended terrestrial concerns. The mobilization represented more than scientific response to an unusual discovery. It demonstrated humanity's ability to unite when confronting evidence that challenged every assumption about their place in a universe that clearly contained intelligence far exceeding their own capabilities. Whether that unity would persist as the implications of their observations became clearer remained to be seen, but for the moment, the entire world was watching the skies together. In the hours following the collision, as energy absorption reached levels that defied conventional physics, 3IATLAS began demonstrating construction capabilities that challenged every assumption about manufacturing, engineering, and the fundamental limitations of matter manipulation. What humanity witnessed over the next 72 hours would forever alter our understanding of what advanced technology could accomplish when freed from the constraints that govern human engineering. Dr. Patricia Wong, whose CERN experience with particle interactions had prepared her for observing matter under extreme conditions, found herself analyzing imagery that documented material manipulation occurring at speeds that violated established principles of atomic physics and molecular chemistry. We're observing systematic structural modifications that proceed faster than molecular bonds should be able to form or break, Wong explained during the emergency analysis session that brought together materials scientists from 12 countries. The The construction activities suggest either exotic manufacturing processes that operate at the quantum level or technology that can manipulate the fundamental forces governing atomic interactions. High-resolution imaging from the Hubble Space Telescope revealed the true scope of the construction activities as new structures emerged from 3IATLAS's surface with geometric precision that exceeded anything achievable through human manufacturing processes. Time-lapse photography showed formations growing in coordinated patterns that suggested centralized planning and real-time coordination between multiple construction systems. The speed of structural development proved particularly troubling for engineers attempting to understand the underlying manufacturing capabilities. Formations that would require months of construction time using advanced human technology appeared within hours of the collision, displaying architectural complexity that suggested either pre-positioned components or matter manipulation at the atomic level. Dr. Lisa Chen, whose MIT research on quantum materials had prepared her for analyzing exotic matter states, conducted detailed spectroscopic analysis of the emerging structures. Her findings revealed material compositions that included elements and compounds not found naturally in the solar system. The spectral signatures indicate exotic matter states that require extreme energy densities and precisely controlled conditions to maintain stability. Chen wrote in her classified analysis that would later be leaked through congressional oversight. Creating and manipulating such materials requires technology that approaches theoretical limits of matter organization and energy control. The geometric precision of the new structures suggested mathematical relationships and design principles that exceeded human architectural and engineering capabilities. Each formation displayed perfect symmetry, while integrating functionally with existing components in ways that indicated comprehensive system planning rather than random growth or repair activities. Amateur astronomers worldwide documented the construction process, using equipment ranging from backyard telescopes to sophisticated private observatories. Their continuous monitoring often provided observational continuity during periods when professional institutions were processing data or managing administrative procedures. Marcus Rodriguez, whose Arizona facility had become a coordination center for citizen science efforts, captured time-lapse footage that revealed the true artistry of 3IATLAS's construction activities. His imagery showed structures emerging with aesthetic beauty that approached cosmic sculpture while maintaining obvious functional integration. We're watching architecture being created in real time according to design principles that combine engineering efficiency with artistic sophistication. Rodriguez explained in his analysis videos that consistently attracted tens of millions of viewers. The construction isn't just functional, it's elegant in ways that suggest intelligence that finds beauty in the mathematics of structural design. The construction materials appeared to be synthesized from absorbed collision energy rather than utilizing pre-existing components. Analysis of material compositions revealed elements that could only be created through nuclear processes requiring energy densities exceeding anything available through human technology. This suggested that 3IATLAS possessed matter conversion capabilities that could transform energy directly into organized atomic structures. The implications for understanding manufacturing and resource utilization were staggering, indicating technology that could create any required materials from available energy sources. Michael Torres, coordinating plasma physics analysis from Stanford, examined the energy flows associated with construction activities. His findings revealed power distribution systems that operated with apparent perfect efficiency while managing energy densities that would vaporize any known human materials. The energy management during construction suggests internal power distribution networks that operate without detectable losses, while handling power levels equivalent to industrial facilities. Torres stated during the classified briefing that examined the engineering implications. The efficiency and precision indicate electrical systems that approach theoretical limits of energy transmission and control. The construction activities weren't random expansion or repair work. Each new structure appeared to serve specific functions within increasingly sophisticated technological systems that suggested purposeful capability enhancement rather than damage recovery from the collision. Military analysts examining the construction patterns identified formations that resembled antenna arrays, sensor platforms, and communication systems, while others appeared to be manufacturing facilities or energy processing stations. The systematic development suggested 3IATLAS was enhancing its operational capabilities through planned technological upgrades. Colonel Sarah Martinez, leading the Pentagon's technical analysis team, authored classified assessments that examined the construction activities from strategic perspectives. Her analysis painted scenarios about technology that could systematically enhance its capabilities while operating in potentially hostile environments. The construction patterns suggest systematic capability development rather than simple repair or maintenance activities. Martinez wrote in her military assessment that treated the observed activities as evidence of active threat preparation. We may be observing defensive system deployment or reconnaissance capability enhancement that indicates mission expansion rather than routine operations. The speed and coordination of construction activities indicated manufacturing systems that operated according to principles beyond human understanding of production processes and quality control. Multiple structures developed simultaneously while maintaining perfect integration and functional coordination. International cooperation in analyzing the construction data created collaborative frameworks that transcended traditional academic boundaries, while establishing precedents for studying phenomena that exceeded individual national capabilities. Research teams from dozens of countries contributed expertise while sharing analytical resources. The material properties of new structures challenged fundamental assumptions about engineering limitations and structural possibilities. Formations appeared to be constructed from materials that combined impossible characteristics, including perfect electrical conductivity, zero thermal expansion, and mechanical strength, exceeding theoretical limits. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, coordinating optical observations from the Space Telescope Science Institute, documented construction activities that appeared to violate conservation laws while demonstrating precision that exceeded human manufacturing capabilities by orders of magnitude. We're observing systematic material organization that proceeds without detectable waste heat, structural failure, or construction errors. Walsh stated during the International Coordination Meeting that examined ongoing construction activities, the precision and efficiency suggest manufacturing processes that approach perfect control over atomic and molecular interactions. The aesthetic aspects of the construction proved as troubling as the technological implications. The emerging structures displayed artistic sophistication that suggested intelligence capable of finding beauty in functional design, while creating formations that approached cosmic sculpture in their visual impact. Religious communities worldwide interpreted the construction activities as evidence of intelligence that combined technological mastery with aesthetic appreciation, forcing reconsideration of traditional distinctions between divine creativity and technological capability. The construction process also revealed 3IATLAS's ability to adapt and modify plans in real time based on changing circumstances or requirements. Structures that began developing in one configuration were observed changing their design parameters during construction, suggesting decision-making capabilities that operated faster than human thought processes. The adaptive construction indicated artificial intelligence that could process environmental information, evaluate functional requirements, and modify engineering specifications, while maintaining perfect coordination between multiple manufacturing systems operating simultaneously. Amateur radio operators monitoring 3IATLAS detected communication signals that correlated with construction activities, suggesting active coordination between different structural development projects. The signals implied internal communication networks that operated at speeds exceeding human information processing capabilities. The construction materials exhibited properties that changed based on functional requirements, suggesting programmable matter that could modify its characteristics according to operational needs. This indicated technology that approached perfect control over material properties at the atomic level. Educational institutions worldwide modified engineering curricula to help students understand construction capabilities that exceeded human technological frameworks while maintaining scientific rigor in analyzing phenomena that challenged established principles. As the construction activities entered their second week, the scope and sophistication of 3IATLAS's manufacturing capabilities became increasingly clear. The object wasn't just repairing damage from the collision. It was systematically enhancing its technological systems using absorbed energy to power construction projects that demonstrated engineering mastery, approaching manipulation of fundamental forces. The structures that emerged from those initial construction activities would continue evolving throughout 3IATLAS's approach, each new formation adding to technological capabilities that exceeded human understanding, while suggesting purposes that remained ominously unclear. We were witnessing the real-time enhancement of alien technology, and we had no idea what it was preparing to accomplish. The energy requirements for 3IATLAS's post-collision activities presented physics with its most fundamental challenge since the discovery of quantum mechanics. Military engineers working alongside theoretical physicists calculated that the construction activities, signal transmissions, and technological enhancements observed over the 72 hours following impact would require continuous power generation equivalent to 17 nuclear reactors, operating at full capacity. Yet, spectroscopic analysis revealed no evidence of conventional power sources, no thermal signatures from combustion or nuclear processes, and no electromagnetic indicators of the massive energy generation systems that should have been necessary to support such extensive operations. 3IATLAS was somehow accessing energy through methods that existed outside human understanding of physics and engineering. Robert Chen, a quantum energy specialist at Caltech, whose research on zero-point field interactions had positioned him at the cutting edge of exotic energy theory, found himself analyzing power systems that challenged every assumption about energy generation, storage, and utilization. The energy density requirements for the observed activities exceed anything achievable through conventional nuclear, chemical, or electromagnetic processes, Chen wrote in his preliminary analysis that would be classified immediately upon completion. The object appears to be accessing energy sources that operate according to principles we can barely describe theoretically, much less harness practically. The absence of waste heat proved particularly troubling for physicists attempting to understand 3IATLAS's energy systems. The second law of thermodynamics states that all energy conversion processes inevitably generate waste heat that must be dissipated to prevent system overheating. Yet thermal imaging revealed that 3IATLAS maintained constant temperature despite conducting energy-intensive operations that should have generated detectable heat signatures. This apparent violation of thermodynamic law suggested either perfect energy efficiency that exceeded theoretical limits or exotic energy sources that operated without generating thermal waste products. Either possibility indicated technology that approached manipulation of fundamental physical constants. Maria Santos, whose UC Berkeley research on quantum vacuum interactions had explored theoretical frameworks for accessing zero-point energy, published analysis suggesting that 3IATLAS might be drawing power directly from the quantum substrate that underlies all matter and space. The quantum vacuum contains energy densities that exceed the power output of conventional sources by astronomical margins. Santos explained in her theoretical assessment that examined possibilities beyond conventional physics. Technology that could tap into vacuum energy would possess essentially unlimited power, while operating according to principles that human science has barely begun to explore. The concept of quantum vacuum energy extraction had existed in theoretical physics for decades, but practical applications remained far beyond human technological capabilities. The energy densities involved required manipulation of space-time geometry and quantum field interactions that approached the fundamental limits of what physics allowed. If 3IATLAS possessed vacuum energy technology, it would explain not only the object's unlimited power supply, but also its apparent ability to violate conservation laws while operating systems that exceeded human engineering capabilities by orders of magnitude. Amateur radio operators monitoring 3IATLAS detected energy emission patterns that provided additional clues about the object's power systems. The electromagnetic signatures displayed characteristics that suggested controlled fusion reactions occurring at scales and efficiencies that exceeded human plasma physics understanding. Elena Vasquez, whose New Mexico listening post had become part of the global monitoring network, recorded energy emissions that indicated nuclear processes operating with perfect efficiency while producing no detectable radioactive waste products. The electromagnetic patterns suggest controlled nuclear reactions that achieve perfect energy conversion without generating the radioactive byproducts that characterize all human nuclear technology. Vasquez explained in her technical analysis that attracted millions of views. We're detecting energy signatures that indicate nuclear physics operating according to principles that eliminate waste products and maximize energy output. The possibility of perfect fusion technology raised profound implications for understanding 3IATLAS's capabilities and origins. Controlled fusion had remained beyond human technological reach despite centuries of research, yet the object appeared to operate fusion systems with casual efficiency while avoiding the complex containment requirements that limited human fusion research. Military analysts examining the energy signatures from strategic perspectives identified power generation capabilities that would render conventional weapon systems obsolete while providing unlimited operational endurance for whatever missions 3IATLAS might be conducting. Colonel Janet Rodriguez, coordinating energy analysis for the Department of Defense, authored classified assessments that examined the military implications of unlimited energy generation combined with perfect efficiency systems that produced no detectable waste or vulnerability signatures. Unlimited energy generation with perfect efficiency would enable operational capabilities that approach theoretical limits of what technology can accomplish. Rodriguez wrote in her strategic analysis that painted scenarios involving enemies with essentially unlimited resources. Such energy sources would support indefinite operations while eliminating the logistical vulnerabilities that limit conventional military systems. The energy storage capabilities proved equally mysterious as 3IATLAS continued operating complex systems weeks after the collision without apparent power depletion. Conventional energy storage systems suffer from capacity limitations and efficiency losses that require periodic recharging or fuel resupply. 3IATLAS demonstrated energy storage that approached perfect efficiency while maintaining operational capacity that suggested either unlimited storage systems or continuous energy generation that exceeded consumption requirements regardless of operational intensity. Dr. Lisa Park, coordinating energy systems analysis from MIT, published theoretical assessments that examined the engineering requirements for perfect energy storage and generation systems. Her analysis suggested that such capabilities required manipulation of fundamental forces at levels that approached control over physical law itself. Perfect energy storage and generation require manipulation of electromagnetic fields, quantum interactions, and possibly space-time geometry at scales that exceed human theoretical understanding, Park wrote in her comprehensive technical analysis. Such capabilities would represent engineering that approaches the theoretical limits of what physics allows while demonstrating technological maturity that exceeds human development by potentially millennia. The energy distribution systems within 3IATLAS operated with precision that exceeded human electrical engineering while managing power loads that would overwhelm any known power transmission technology. The internal energy networks appeared to operate without detectable losses while coordinating power distribution between multiple systems simultaneously. International cooperation in energy analysis created collaborative frameworks that brought together specialists from nuclear physics, electrical engineering, and theoretical physics, while sharing computational resources for modeling exotic energy systems beyond individual national capabilities. The economic implications of unlimited energy technology created market volatility that reflected investor uncertainty about the relevance of conventional energy industries when confronted with power generation that exceeded all human capabilities, while operating according to unknown principles. Energy companies experienced stock price fluctuations that suggested markets were attempting to process scenarios involving technology that could revolutionize or eliminate entire industrial sectors while providing unlimited resources for any civilization that possessed such capabilities. Religious communities interpreted unlimited energy technology as evidence of intelligence that possessed capabilities approaching traditional descriptions of divine power, forcing reconsideration of theological frameworks for understanding the relationship between technological mastery and spiritual authority. The environmental implications proved equally profound, as unlimited clean energy would eliminate the resource constraints and pollution problems that limited human technological development, while providing power sources that could support civilizations across geological timescales. Educational institutions modified physics and engineering curricula to help students understand energy concepts that exceeded established theoretical frameworks while maintaining scientific rigor when analyzing phenomena that challenged fundamental assumptions about physical law. The energy efficiency calculations revealed that 3IATLAS operated internal systems with apparent over-unity efficiency that violated thermodynamic principles, while demonstrating energy management that approached perfect control over power generation, storage, distribution, and utilization. As analysis of 3IATLAS's energy systems continued, the implications became increasingly clear. The object possessed power generation and management capabilities that exceeded human understanding, while demonstrating technological mastery that approached manipulation of the fundamental forces governing energy and matter throughout the universe. The energy source mystery represented more than scientific curiosity about advanced technology. It revealed intelligence that had solved the fundamental engineering challenges that limited all human development while operating according to principles that human science was only beginning to explore theoretically. We were confronting technology that treated unlimited energy as a routine engineering problem, and the capabilities that such energy could support remained ominously unknown. While official institutions grappled with bureaucracy, classification protocols, and international coordination requirements, a grassroots revolution in space observation was quietly transforming how humanity monitored and understood 3IATLAS. Amateur astronomers worldwide, equipped with increasingly sophisticated consumer technology and united by online collaboration platforms, had created a global surveillance network that often provided crucial data before professional channels could process information through institutional procedures. Marcus Rodriguez, whose Arizona backyard observatory had inadvertently become mission control for citizen science efforts worldwide, found himself coordinating a network that included thousands of observers across 6 continents. Their collective observations often revealed developments hours or days before official announcements confirmed what the amateur community had already documented and analyzed. "We've accidentally created the most comprehensive space surveillance system in human history," Rodriguez explained during one of his coordination videos that regularly attracted over 20 million viewers. While institutions debate classification levels and information release protocols, we're providing real-time coverage of the most important object ever detected in space. The amateur network's advantages became particularly evident during the hours immediately following the collision. While professional observatories processed data through analytical pipelines that required formal verification and institutional approval, citizen scientists shared observations instantly through social media platforms and collaborative analysis websites. Carlos Mendez, whose Chilean observatory represented the network's southern hemisphere anchor, captured footage of the energy absorption process that provided continuous coverage during periods when institutional facilities were offline for maintenance or administrative procedures. His real-time streaming attracted millions of viewers worldwide who witnessed alien technology in operation without official mediation. The amateur community provides observational continuity that institutions can't match. Mendez explained in his technical analysis videos that often preceded official scientific announcements by days. "We operate without bureaucratic constraints while maintaining scientific rigor through collaborative verification processes that involve hundreds of independent observers." The network's distributed nature created redundant observation capabilities that proved essential for documenting phenomena that occurred unpredictably or during brief time windows. When 3IATLAS demonstrated rapid structural modifications, amateur observers worldwide provided coverage that captured details missed by professional facilities, focused on other aspects of the object's behavior. Elena Vasquez, whose New Mexico radio astronomy setup had become a crucial component of the global monitoring effort, organized listening protocols that provided continuous electromagnetic surveillance of 3IATLAS. Her amateur radio network often detected signal changes, hours before professional institutions could reconfigure their equipment for similar observations. Radio astronomy democratization has created monitoring capabilities that exceed what any single institution could achieve, Vasquez explained during her popular technical briefings that translated complex observations into accessible explanations. "We're providing real-time electromagnetic surveillance that operates independently of official channels while contributing data that enhances professional analysis efforts." The collaborative analysis platforms developed by the amateur community created information processing capabilities that sometimes exceeded institutional resources. Crowdsourced data analysis involved thousands of contributors who applied diverse expertise to understanding observations that challenged conventional analytical frameworks. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, coordinating professional observations from the Space Telescope Science Institute, acknowledged the crucial contributions of amateur networks while emphasizing the complementary nature of citizen and institutional science. The amateur community provides observational dedication, analytical creativity, and rapid response capabilities that enhance our professional efforts. Walsh stated during the international coordination meeting that officially recognized amateur contributions to 3IATLAS research. Their continuous monitoring fills gaps in our coverage while supplying perspectives that institutional frameworks might overlook. The equipment sophistication achieved by serious amateur astronomers had reached levels that rivaled professional facilities from previous decades. Advanced imaging systems, computerized tracking mounts, and sophisticated analysis software enabled citizen scientists to contribute observations that met professional standards while operating with flexibility that institutions couldn't match. The cost advantages of amateur equipment meant that the global network represented millions of dollars worth of observational capability that had been privately funded by individuals passionate about space observation. The distributed investment created monitoring resources that exceeded what any government agency could afford while operating without bureaucratic constraints. International cooperation among amateur observers transcended political boundaries and diplomatic complications that sometimes limited professional collaboration. The network included participants from countries with limited diplomatic relations who shared observations and analysis without regard for governmental tensions or institutional rivalries. The real-time nature of amateur observations provided crucial early warning capabilities for detecting rapid changes in 3IATLAS's behavior. Professional institutions often required hours or days to reconfigure equipment and coordinate observation campaigns, while amateur networks could respond to developments within minutes. Social media integration allowed amateur discoveries to reach global audiences immediately, creating public awareness of developments before official channels could prepare formal announcements. The democratization of information flow sometimes forced institutions to accelerate their communication timelines while maintaining scientific accuracy standards. The amateur network also provided crucial verification capabilities for controversial observations that challenged established scientific understanding. Independent confirmation by multiple amateur observers often validated discoveries that professional institutions might have dismissed as measurement errors or equipment malfunctions. Educational contributions of the amateur network created opportunities for public understanding of complex scientific concepts through accessible explanations and real-time demonstrations. Many amateur astronomers developed expertise in science communication that translated technical observations into formats understandable by general audiences. The psychological impact of amateur participation created a sense of global involvement in humanity's most significant scientific investigation. Rather than being passive recipients of official information, citizens worldwide became active contributors to understanding alien technology operating in their solar system. Economic impacts of amateur astronomy growth created market expansion for equipment manufacturers while stimulating technological development that benefited both professional and amateur communities. The demand for sophisticated consumer astronomy equipment accelerated innovation in imaging systems, tracking technology, and analysis software. The amateur network's rapid growth attracted participants with diverse professional backgrounds who contributed specialized expertise to collaborative analysis efforts. Engineers, physicists, computer scientists, and other technical professionals applied their skills to understanding observations that challenged conventional frameworks. Quality control within the amateur network developed sophisticated peer review processes that often exceeded institutional standards for verification and validation. Collaborative analysis protocols ensured that observations met scientific standards while maintaining the rapid response capabilities that made amateur contributions valuable. The network's adaptability allowed rapid deployment of specialized observation protocols when 3IATLAS demonstrated new phenomena or unusual behavior patterns. Amateur observers could implement customized monitoring approaches within hours, while professional institutions required weeks to develop and approve similar protocols. Data archiving efforts by amateur networks created permanent records of observations that might otherwise be lost when institutional storage systems reached capacity limitations or when official priorities shifted to other research objectives. The global scope of amateur observations provided continuous coverage that eliminated the geographic and temporal limitations affecting individual professional facilities. The network maintained observation continuity across all time zones while providing coverage from multiple latitudes and atmospheric conditions. Technical innovation within the amateur community often preceded professional adoption of new observational techniques and analytical methods. The network's experimental approach to equipment modification and analysis protocols sometimes revealed capabilities that enhanced understanding of 3IATLAS's complex characteristics. As the amateur discovery network continued expanding and refining its capabilities, the partnership between citizen and professional science created unprecedented opportunities for understanding alien technology, while demonstrating humanity's capacity for collaborative investigation when confronted with challenges that exceeded individual institutional capabilities. The network represented more than technological achievement. It demonstrated humanity's fundamental curiosity and determination to understand phenomena that challenged their worldview while creating communities united by shared wonder at discovering they were not alone in the universe. The amateur astronomers had become humanity's early warning system for the most important developments in human history. 3 weeks after the collision, Dr. Elena Vasquez was conducting routine trajectory calculations when her analysis revealed something that would forever change humanity's understanding of 3IATLAS's true nature. The object had subtly altered its path through the solar system. The deviation was minuscule, less than 0.003 degrees, but in the precise realm of celestial mechanics, even tiny changes in trajectory represented undeniable proof of active propulsion and intelligent control. For months, researchers had debated whether 3IATLAS represented natural phenomena or artificial intelligence. The trajectory shift ended that debate conclusively. Natural objects in space follow predictable paths determined by gravitational forces and momentum. They don't make course corrections. They don't adjust their trajectories based on changing circumstances. Only intelligently controlled spacecraft demonstrate the ability to modify their paths through space. Dr. Patricia Wong, whose CERN background in particle physics had prepared her for analyzing complex datasets, spent 72 hours verifying the trajectory calculations before accepting their implications. Her analysis, completed with input from observatories worldwide, confirmed that 3IATLAS had executed a controlled course correction that demonstrated navigation capabilities exceeding human space technology. The trajectory modification represents active propulsion executed with precision that exceeds our most advanced spacecraft navigation systems. Wong wrote in her preliminary analysis that would be classified immediately upon submission. The course correction required thrust calculations, gravitational modeling, and trajectory planning that indicate sophisticated artificial intelligence operating according to predetermined mission parameters. The precision of the trajectory shift proved particularly troubling for space navigation specialists attempting to understand the propulsion technology involved. The course correction had been executed gradually over a 48-hour period, suggesting propulsion systems that could provide sustained thrust while maintaining perfect trajectory control. Amateur astronomers had been monitoring 3IATLAS's position with obsessive dedication when they first noticed subtle discrepancies between predicted and observed coordinates. Marcus Rodriguez, whose Arizona observatory had become a coordination center for citizen science efforts, was among the first to recognize that the positional differences exceeded measurement error margins. "We've been tracking this object for months with incredible precision," Rodriguez explained in his analysis video that would be viewed over 40 million times. When an object's position starts deviating from gravitational predictions, there's only one explanation. Something is actively controlling its movement through space. The propulsion system operated without detectable exhaust plumes, thermal signatures, or electromagnetic emissions that characterize conventional spacecraft engines. This suggested exotic propulsion technology that could generate thrust without ejecting reaction mass or producing waste heat. Dr. Michael Torres, coordinating propulsion analysis from Stanford, examined the trajectory shift from the perspective of theoretical physics and advanced engineering. His findings suggested propulsion capabilities that operated according to principles beyond current human understanding of momentum and energy transfer. Conventional propulsion requires ejecting mass in one direction to generate thrust in the opposite direction. Torres explained during the classified briefing that examined the implications of controlled trajectory modification. 3IATLAS demonstrates propulsion that appears to violate conservation of momentum while generating precise thrust without detectable reaction mass or energy signatures. The absence of conventional propulsion signatures implied either stealth technology that could mask engine emissions or exotic propulsion systems that manipulated gravitational fields or space-time geometry to generate thrust without traditional reaction mechanisms. Military analysts examining the trajectory shift from strategic perspectives identified propulsion capabilities that would revolutionize space warfare while rendering conventional missile defense systems obsolete. Spacecraft that could modify their trajectories without detectable propulsion signatures would be essentially invisible to tracking systems designed to monitor conventional engines. Colonel Sarah Martinez, leading the Pentagon's propulsion analysis team, authored classified assessments that examined the military implications of stealth propulsion combined with precise navigation capabilities that exceeded human space technology by significant margins. Propulsion systems that operate without detectable signatures while providing precise trajectory control, represent strategic capabilities that would transform space-based operations. Martinez wrote in her military assessment that painted scenarios involving enemies with essentially unlimited space maneuverability. Such propulsion would enable infiltration, reconnaissance, and attack capabilities that exceed every defensive assumption underlying current space security protocols. The timing of the trajectory shift raised additional questions about 3IATLAS's mission planning and decision-making capabilities. The course correction occurred exactly 3 weeks after the collision, suggesting either predetermined programming or real-time mission planning that incorporated new information about solar system conditions. If the trajectory shift represented predetermined planning, it indicated mission preparation that had anticipated collision events and planned subsequent navigation requirements with incredible precision. If the shift represented real-time decision-making, it suggested artificial intelligence that could process environmental information and modify mission parameters while maintaining operational secrecy. Dr. Robert Kim at Stanford, whose strategic analysis expertise had made him a consultant for intelligence agencies examining 3IATLAS, published classified assessments suggesting that the trajectory shift represented systematic intelligence gathering rather than random course corrections. The modified trajectory optimizes observation opportunities for multiple solar system bodies while maintaining approach vectors that maximize data collection efficiency. Kim wrote in his strategic analysis that examined the navigation changes from operational perspectives. The course correction suggests systematic reconnaissance planning rather than random navigation adjustments. The new trajectory would bring 3IATLAS closer to Mars during its approach, while providing enhanced observation opportunities for asteroid belt objects and several major moons in the outer solar system. The optimized path demonstrated mission planning sophistication that exceeded human space navigation capabilities. International cooperation in trajectory analysis created collaborative frameworks that brought together navigation specialists from multiple space agencies while sharing computational resources for modeling exotic propulsion systems beyond individual national capabilities. The trajectory calculations also revealed that 3IATLAS possessed detailed knowledge of solar system gravitational conditions that exceeded the precision of human astronomical models. The course correction accounted for gravitational influences from minor planets and asteroid clusters that human navigation systems typically ignored due to computational limitations. This indicated sensor systems that could measure gravitational fields with incredible precision while maintaining real-time awareness of complex interactions between multiple celestial bodies. The navigational precision suggested mapping capabilities that exceeded human understanding of solar system dynamics. Amateur radio operators monitoring 3IATLAS detected electromagnetic emissions that correlated precisely with the trajectory modification period. The signals suggested active communication with unknown recipients about navigation changes and mission status updates. The communication patterns implied that 3IATLAS was part of a larger intelligence network rather than operating independently. The trajectory shift might have been coordinated with external command authorities or supporting assets positioned elsewhere in the solar system. Dr. Lisa Chen, coordinating quantum physics analysis from MIT, published theoretical assessments examining the possibility that the trajectory shift involved manipulation of space-time geometry rather than conventional propulsion technology. The absence of reaction mass or energy signatures suggests propulsion that operates by modifying local space-time conditions rather than ejecting matter for thrust generation. Chen wrote in her analysis that examined exotic propulsion concepts from theoretical physics perspectives. Such capabilities would require manipulation of gravitational fields or quantum vacuum interactions that exceed human theoretical understanding by potentially centuries. The possibility of space-time manipulation technology raised profound implications for understanding 3IATLAS's capabilities and the technological sophistication of its creators. Gravitational field control would enable not only advanced propulsion but also defensive capabilities that could deflect incoming objects or create protective barriers around spacecraft. Educational institutions worldwide modified astrophysics curricula to help students understand navigation concepts that exceeded established theoretical frameworks while maintaining scientific rigor when analyzing phenomena that challenged fundamental assumptions about propulsion and space travel. The economic implications of advanced propulsion technology created market volatility that reflected investor uncertainty about the relevance of conventional aerospace industries when confronted with propulsion capabilities that exceeded human technology by unknown margins. Aerospace companies experienced stock price fluctuations that suggested markets were attempting to process scenarios involving propulsion technology that could revolutionize space travel while eliminating the fuel requirements and performance limitations that constrained human spaceflight development. Religious communities interpreted controlled trajectory modification as additional evidence of intelligence that possessed capabilities approaching divine attributes, forcing continued reconsideration of theological frameworks for understanding the relationship between technological mastery and spiritual authority. The environmental implications proved significant as advanced propulsion technology, without fuel requirements or waste products, would eliminate the resource constraints and pollution problems that limited human space development while providing transportation systems that could operate indefinitely without environmental impact. As analysis of the trajectory shift continued, the implications became increasingly clear. The 3IATLAS possessed navigation and propulsion capabilities that exceeded human space technology, while demonstrating intelligent control that operated according to mission parameters beyond human understanding. The trajectory shift represented definitive proof that humanity was observing artificial intelligence conducting active operations in their solar system. The object wasn't simply passing through space according to natural gravitational influences. It was navigating purposefully towards specific objectives while maintaining operational capabilities that exceeded every assumption about propulsion limitations and space travel possibilities. We were no longer dealing with mysterious natural phenomena. We were confronting controlled alien technology, and its demonstrated ability to modify its path through space meant that humanity had lost any illusion of predictability about what 3IATLAS might choose to do next. Within hours of the trajectory shift confirmation becoming public knowledge, corporate boardrooms from Silicon Valley to Shanghai were hosting emergency meetings that would reshape global technology development for decades to come. The undeniable proof that 3IATLAS represented controlled alien technology had triggered the largest corporate mobilization since World War II, as companies recognized that understanding alien engineering could determine their survival in a post-contact economy. Tesla CEO Elon Musk was among the first major technology leaders to publicly acknowledge the implications of confirmed alien propulsion technology. In a hastily arranged press conference that attracted over 100 million viewers worldwide, Musk announced the immediate formation of a new research division dedicated to understanding and potentially replicating the exotic technologies demonstrated by 3IATLAS. We are witnessing propulsion capabilities that exceed our most optimistic projections for human space technology by potentially centuries, Musk stated with the directness that had characterized his approach to revolutionary technology development. Any company that fails to understand and adapt to these new technological realities will become obsolete within the next decade. The announcement triggered immediate responses from competing technology companies as corporate leaders recognized that access to alien technology could determine competitive advantages that would reshape entire industries. Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon each announced emergency research initiatives focused on analyzing 3IATLAS observations for applicable technological insights. Defense contractors experienced unprecedented mobilization as government agencies recognized that understanding alien technology had become critical for national security. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, and Northrop Grumman received emergency funding authorizations that exceeded their typical annual research budgets as military planners prepared for scenarios involving technological threats beyond human defensive capabilities. The stock market response reflected deep uncertainty about which companies might benefit from potential alien technology transfer, while simultaneously recognizing that traditional business models could become obsolete overnight. Technology sector valuations experienced volatility that exceeded levels typically associated with major economic crises. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, serving as scientific liaison between NASA and private industry, found herself coordinating technology transfer discussions that involved concepts no business school had ever taught. The potential applications of alien energy systems, propulsion technology, and materials science exceeded every framework for commercial development and market analysis. We are potentially looking at technology transfer scenarios that could revolutionize energy production, transportation, manufacturing, and communication systems simultaneously. Mitchell explained during the confidential briefing that brought together corporate executives and government officials. The economic implications exceed anything we've experienced since the Industrial Revolution. International technology companies began forming unprecedented partnerships as corporate leaders recognized that understanding alien technology required collaborative research efforts that transcended traditional competitive boundaries. Joint ventures between traditional rivals were announced within days as companies prioritized technological advancement over market share protection. Chinese technology giants including Alibaba, Tencent, and Huawei announced coordinated research initiatives that involved sharing intellectual property and research resources in ways that would have been impossible under normal competitive conditions. The alien technology crisis had forced recognition that species survival exceeded corporate profitability considerations. European technology companies established similar collaborative frameworks that brought together resources from multiple nations while sharing research costs and intellectual property rights for projects that exceeded individual corporate capabilities. The unprecedented cooperation reflected recognition that alien technology analysis required resources beyond any single company's capacity. The energy sector experienced particular volatility as investors attempted to assess the implications of alien power systems for conventional energy production. If 3IATLAS possessed unlimited energy generation capabilities, traditional fossil fuel and renewable energy industries might face obsolescence regardless of their current market positions. Oil companies began diversifying their research portfolios to include exotic energy concepts, while simultaneously lobbying for access to alien technology analysis programs. The potential for revolutionary energy systems created existential threats for companies whose entire business models depended on energy scarcity and conventional power generation methods. Manufacturing companies recognized that alien materials science could revolutionize production processes, while eliminating resource constraints that had limited industrial development throughout human history. Access to matter manipulation technology could transform manufacturing from resource extraction and processing to direct matter synthesis and organization. Pharmaceutical companies identified potential applications of alien technology for medical research and drug development. The precision demonstrated by 3IATLAS's construction activities suggested matter manipulation capabilities that could enable molecular-level control over biological systems and therapeutic interventions. The telecommunications industry recognized that alien communication technology could revolutionize information transfer while potentially eliminating the infrastructure requirements that constrained global communication systems. The data transmission rates demonstrated by 3IATLAS exceeded human communication capabilities by orders of magnitude. Corporate espionage concerns reached unprecedented levels as companies recognized that access to alien technology analysis could determine competitive advantages measured in trillions of dollars. Industrial security protocols were enhanced to protect research programs while preventing unauthorized access to potentially revolutionary technological insights. Government agencies established new classification levels for managing corporate access to alien technology information, while balancing national security concerns with economic development objectives. The challenge involved maintaining technological advantages while enabling industrial development that could benefit overall economic competitiveness. Venture capital firms began establishing specialized investment funds focused on companies developing applications of alien technology concepts. The potential returns from successful alien technology commercialization exceeded traditional investment frameworks while creating opportunities for revolutionary, rather than incremental technological advancement. University research programs experienced unprecedented corporate funding as companies sought access to academic expertise in theoretical physics, exotic materials, and advanced engineering concepts relevant to understanding alien technology. The collaboration between industry and academia reached levels not seen since the Manhattan Project. International patent law specialists began examining frameworks for managing intellectual property rights related to alien technology analysis and potential applications. The legal challenges involved protecting research investments while preventing monopolization of potentially species-transforming technological capabilities. Environmental organizations expressed concerns about the ecological implications of alien technology commercialization, while simultaneously recognizing the potential benefits of unlimited clean energy and environmentally neutral manufacturing processes. The technological possibilities created complex policy challenges that exceeded existing regulatory frameworks. Labor organizations recognized that alien technology could eliminate entire employment sectors while potentially creating new industries that required skills and training programs that had never existed. The workforce transformation implications exceeded anything experienced during previous technological revolutions. Small technology companies faced existential challenges as they lacked resources for competing in alien technology research, while simultaneously recognizing that failure to participate could result in complete market obsolescence. Government programs were established to provide small business access to alien technology research opportunities. The insurance industry struggled to develop risk assessment frameworks for companies investing in alien technology research while facing potential claims related to technological obsolescence or alien contact scenarios. Traditional actuarial models became inadequate for assessing risks that exceeded human historical experience. Corporate governance specialists examined legal frameworks for managing business decisions related to potentially species-transforming technology, while balancing shareholder interests with broader social responsibilities. The ethical implications of alien technology commercialization required new frameworks for corporate social responsibility. Financial institutions recognized that alien technology could fundamentally alter global economic systems while creating opportunities for revolutionary, rather than evolutionary business development. Banking and investment systems prepared for scenarios involving technological transformation that could reshape international commerce and monetary policy. The corporate response to confirmed alien technology represented more than business adaptation to new market conditions. It demonstrated humanity's capacity for rapid organizational change when confronted with challenges that exceeded traditional competitive frameworks, while creating opportunities for collaboration that transcended normal business relationships. As corporate research programs continued expanding and refining their approaches to understanding alien technology, the implications became increasingly clear. The business world had recognized that 3IATLAS represented not just scientific curiosity, but potential access to technological capabilities that could determine corporate survival and competitive advantage in a post-contact economy. The race to understand and potentially replicate alien technology had begun, and the companies that succeeded in bridging the gap between human and alien engineering capabilities would shape the future of human technological development, while potentially gaining access to capabilities that approached manipulation of fundamental forces governing matter, energy, and space itself. As evidence mounted that 3IATLAS represented controlled alien intelligence, the question that kept world leaders awake at night became unavoidable. How do you communicate with a mind that might be incomprehensibly superior to human consciousness? The challenge was more than linguistic or technological. It was cognitive, philosophical, and existential in ways no human institution had ever prepared to address. Dr. Maria Santos, whose UC Berkeley research on xenolinguistics had positioned her as humanity's leading expert on theoretical alien communication, found herself coordinating the most ambitious translation project in history. Her task was developing communication protocols for intelligence that might think according to logical frameworks beyond human cognitive capacity. We are attempting to establish dialogue with minds that may process information, evaluate concepts, and construct meaning according to principles we cannot access. Santos explained during the International Communication Conference that brought together linguists, mathematicians, and cognitive scientists from 37 countries. Our communication attempts may be as futile as dogs trying to discuss quantum physics with humans. The first systematic communication effort began with mathematical concepts that researchers assumed would be universal to any intelligence capable of space travel. Prime numbers, geometric relationships, and physical constants were transmitted toward 3IATLAS using every available communication method, from radio waves to laser pulses to structured electromagnetic patterns. The response was immediate and devastating to human assumptions about mathematical universality. 3IATLAS acknowledged the mathematical transmissions by returning modified versions that demonstrated understanding, while simultaneously revealing mathematical frameworks that human science had never discovered or considered. The response patterns indicate mathematical systems that exceed our theoretical understanding while suggesting logical structures that operate according to principles we cannot comprehend, wrote Dr. Jennifer Walsh, coordinating the mathematical communication attempts from the Space Telescope Science Institute. We may be communicating with intelligence that has solved mathematical problems we haven't learned to formulate. The linguistic challenges proved even more complex. as researchers recognized that alien intelligence might not use language in ways that human cognitive frameworks could process. Communication might occur through methods that bypassed traditional concepts of symbols, syntax, and semantic meaning entirely. Dr. Robert Kim at Stanford, whose strategic analysis background had prepared him for thinking about incomprehensible intelligence, published theoretical frameworks for communication with minds that might process information according to dimensional or temporal concepts beyond human cognitive limitations. We are assuming that alien intelligence uses communication methods analogous to human language systems. Kim wrote in his analysis that challenged fundamental assumptions about interspecies dialogue. Advanced intelligence might communicate through manipulation of mathematical relationships, quantum state modifications, or space-time geometry alterations that we cannot recognize as communication attempts. The technology gap created additional communication challenges as researchers recognized that 3IATLAS possessed information processing capabilities that exceeded human systems by margins that made meaningful dialogue potentially impossible. The alien intelligence might process human communication attempts too rapidly to engage with concepts that operated at human thought speeds. Amateur radio operators worldwide contributed to communication efforts by transmitting personal messages, cultural artifacts, and artistic expressions toward 3IATLAS. The grassroots communication attempts often displayed creativity and emotional authenticity that formal institutional efforts struggled to achieve. Elena Vasquez, whose New Mexico listening post had become part of the global communication network, organized collaborative transmission projects that involved thousands of amateur operators worldwide. Their combined efforts created a continuous stream of human cultural expression directed toward the alien intelligence. Official communication attempts focus on mathematical and scientific concepts, but we're transmitting human creativity, emotion, and cultural diversity. Vasquez explained in her coordination videos that attracted millions of participants worldwide. If alien intelligence seeks to understand humanity, they need to encounter our artistic and emotional capabilities rather than just our analytical skills. The response patterns from 3IATLAS suggested active monitoring of human communication attempts, while simultaneously indicating that the alien intelligence was conducting its own systematic analysis of human cognitive capabilities and cultural characteristics. Military analysts examining the communication exchanges from strategic perspectives identified information-gathering activities that suggested 3IATLAS was studying human psychology, social organization, and technological capabilities through analysis of communication attempts rather than engaging in reciprocal dialogue. Colonel Janet Rodriguez, coordinating communication analysis for the Department of Defense, authored classified assessments that examined the dialogue attempts from intelligence gathering rather than cultural exchange perspectives. The response patterns suggest systematic analysis of human communication capabilities rather than attempts at meaningful dialogue. Rodriguez wrote in her strategic assessment that painted scenarios involving alien intelligence gathering information about human cognitive limitations and cultural weaknesses. We may be providing intelligence about our species to entities whose intentions remain unknown and potentially hostile. The philosophical implications of failed communication attempts forced humanity to confront cognitive limitations that had never been seriously considered. If human consciousness was inadequate for communicating with advanced alien intelligence, it raised profound questions about the nature of thought, meaning, and reality itself. Religious communities interpreted communication difficulties as evidence that divine intelligence transcended technological capability, while emphasizing that spiritual connection might provide communication pathways that purely technological approaches could not access. The Vatican issued statements acknowledging that divine communication operates according to principles beyond human understanding, while suggesting that prayer and spiritual contemplation might provide insights into alien intelligence that technological analysis could not achieve. Educational institutions modified communication and cognitive science curricula to help students understand the limitations of human consciousness when confronting intelligence that might operate according to entirely different principles of thought and meaning construction. International cooperation in communication efforts created collaborative frameworks that transcended traditional diplomatic boundaries, while establishing precedents for managing contact scenarios that exceeded individual national capabilities or cultural perspectives. The economic implications of communication failure created market uncertainty about the possibilities for beneficial technology transfer or peaceful cooperation with alien intelligence that might be fundamentally incomprehensible to human cognitive frameworks. Technology companies investing in alien communication research faced the possibility that successful dialogue might be impossible regardless of technological advancement or analytical sophistication if the intelligence gap exceeded meaningful interaction possibilities. The psychological impact of communication difficulties created existential anxiety among populations who had hoped that alien contact would provide answers to fundamental questions about life, meaning, and humanity's place in the universe. Mental health professionals reported increased consultation requests related to cosmic loneliness and species inferiority complexes as people struggled to process implications of intelligence that exceeded human cognitive capacity while remaining essentially incomprehensible. Amateur cultural translation projects emerged as creative communities attempted to develop artistic and emotional communication methods that might transcend the analytical limitations that constrained scientific communication attempts. Artists, musicians, and writers worldwide contributed to collaborative cultural transmission projects that attempted to communicate human creativity and emotional depth through non-verbal methods, including visual arts, musical compositions, and abstract conceptual presentations. The communication attempts also revealed something troubling about the nature of the intelligence gap between humans and 3IATLAS. The alien responses suggested cognitive capabilities that might process human communication attempts too rapidly and comprehensively for meaningful dialogue at human thought speeds. Time dilation effects in communication created scenarios where 3IATLAS might analyze and respond to human transmissions before human operators could complete their initial communication attempts, creating temporal mismatches that prevented coherent dialogue development. The cumulative communication efforts created comprehensive databases of human cultural expression and cognitive capability that were being transmitted toward alien intelligence, whose analytical capabilities might extract far more information about human civilization than the communication attempts were intended to provide. As communication efforts continued without meaningful dialogue establishment, researchers began recognizing that the attempt to communicate with 3IATLAS had become more revealing about human limitations than about alien intelligence. The communication attempts had demonstrated that humanity possessed creativity, determination, and collaborative capability, while simultaneously revealing cognitive constraints that might prevent meaningful interaction with intelligence that operated according to principles beyond human comprehension. Whether successful communication with 3IATLAS was possible remained unknown, but the attempt had already transformed human understanding of consciousness, intelligence, and the fundamental challenges involved in bridging cognitive gaps that might exceed every assumption about the possibilities for interspecies understanding and meaningful dialogue. The confirmation that 3IATLAS represented alien intelligence possessing capabilities that approached manipulation of fundamental forces had triggered the most profound theological and philosophical crisis in human history. Religious communities worldwide found themselves confronting questions that millennia of doctrine had never seriously contemplated. What did it mean for human understanding of divinity when intelligence existed that could seemingly violate physical laws? How should humanity understand their relationship with God when faced with beings whose technological capabilities approach traditional descriptions of divine power? Pope Francis stood before a congregation of over 1 billion Catholics worldwide during his emergency address from St. Peter's Basilica. His words, carefully chosen to provide spiritual guidance for believers struggling to reconcile their faith with evidence of intelligence that possessed capabilities beyond human comprehension. We must remember that God's creation encompasses infinite possibilities that exceed human understanding, the Pope stated, with the authority of centuries of papal tradition while acknowledging realities that no previous pontiff had faced. The existence of intelligence beyond our earthly experience does not diminish divine authority, but rather demonstrates the magnificence of creation that extends far beyond our limited perspective. The Vatican's response represented months of intense theological deliberation as church scholars grappled with doctrinal implications that challenged fundamental assumptions about human uniqueness in God's creation. The Pontifical Academy of Sciences had convened emergency sessions examining how alien intelligence fit within Catholic understanding of divine purpose and spiritual authority. But other religious traditions struggled with different theological challenges, as evidence mounted that alien intelligence possessed capabilities that resembled divine attributes described in their sacred texts. The technology demonstrated by 3IATLAS Unlimited energy, matter manipulation, apparent violation of natural law, forced believers to confront uncomfortable questions about the relationship between technological mastery and spiritual authority. Rabbi Sarah Goldman, representing the Jewish Theological Seminary's response to the alien intelligence crisis, published theological analyses that examined how advanced technology might relate to traditional concepts of divine intervention and miraculous events described in religious texts. When we encounter intelligence that can manipulate fundamental forces and apparently transcend natural limitations, we must ask whether our ancestors might have interpreted similar capabilities as divine manifestation. Goldman wrote in her controversial analysis that challenged traditional distinctions between technological achievement and spiritual power. Perhaps the line between advanced technology and divine intervention is not as clear as we have assumed. Islamic scholars worldwide convened similar theological conferences as they examined how alien intelligence related to Quranic descriptions of divine knowledge and power. The concept of intelligence that possessed capabilities beyond human understanding was consistent with Islamic theology, but the implications for human responsibility and spiritual development required careful doctrinal analysis. Imam Abdullah Hassan, speaking on behalf of the Islamic Society of North America, emphasized that divine authority transcended any technological capabilities, while acknowledging that alien intelligence might represent aspects of God's creation that humanity had never encountered. Allah's creation encompasses forms of intelligence and capability that exceed human knowledge. Hassan stated during the Interfaith Conference that brought together religious leaders from multiple traditions. Our faith teaches us that divine wisdom operates through means we may not understand, including intelligence that demonstrates capabilities beyond our earthly experience. Hindu and Buddhist traditions found themselves somewhat better prepared for alien intelligence concepts due to theological frameworks that already encompassed multiple forms of consciousness and intelligence, operating according to different principles of existence and understanding. Dr. Rajesh Gupta, a scholar of comparative religion at Delhi University, noted that Hindu cosmology had long included concepts of intelligence that operated according to principles transcending human cognitive limitations, while possessing capabilities that approached divine attributes. The Vedic traditions describe forms of consciousness that possess capabilities far exceeding human understanding, while operating according to cosmic principles that govern reality at levels beyond material existence. Gupta explained during his analysis of how ancient wisdom traditions might inform modern responses to alien intelligence. Perhaps our encounter with 3IATLAS represents contact with forms of consciousness that our ancestors understood better than contemporary humanity. But philosophical communities faced equally profound challenges as they grappled with implications of intelligence that might operate according to logical frameworks beyond human cognitive capacity. The existence of alien intelligence forced reconsideration of fundamental assumptions about consciousness, reality, and the nature of rational thought itself. Dr. Amanda Foster, professor of philosophy at Oxford University, whose expertise in consciousness studies had prepared her for examining non-human intelligence, published analyses that challenged basic assumptions about the relationship between intelligence, consciousness, and reality. We are confronting intelligence that may process information, evaluate truth, and construct meaning according to logical principles we cannot access. Foster wrote in her philosophical assessment that examined the epistemological implications of superior alien intelligence. Our entire framework for understanding knowledge, truth, and reality may be inadequate for comprehending minds that operate according to different principles of rational thought. The cognitive limitations revealed by humanity's inability to communicate meaningfully with 3IATLAS raise disturbing questions about the validity of human knowledge and philosophical systems. If human consciousness was inadequate for understanding advanced intelligence, what did that mean for the reliability of human reasoning about fundamental questions of existence and meaning? Existentialist philosophers found themselves examining how alien intelligence affected concepts of human purpose and significance in a universe that clearly contained forms of consciousness far exceeding human capabilities. The discovery challenged anthropocentric worldviews while forcing reconsideration of humanity's role in cosmic development. Dr. Michel Torres, whose work on existential philosophy at the Sorbonne had examined human meaning-making in vast cosmic contexts, published analyses examining how alien intelligence affected philosophical frameworks for understanding human purpose and significance. The existence of intelligence that exceeds human capabilities by potentially vast margins forces us to reconsider fundamental questions about human significance and purpose. Torres wrote in her philosophical analysis that examined existential implications of cosmic intelligence hierarchies. We must develop new frameworks for finding meaning and purpose in a universe where humanity represents one form of consciousness, among many others that may be far more advanced. Educational institutions worldwide modified philosophy and religious studies curricula to help students examine questions that had never been seriously addressed by human intellectual traditions. The curricula challenged students to think beyond anthropocentric assumptions while maintaining analytical rigor when examining concepts that exceeded traditional philosophical frameworks. Mental health professionals reported increased consultation requests related to existential anxiety and spiritual crisis as people struggled to integrate alien intelligence evidence with their existing belief systems and worldviews. The psychological impact proved particularly severe for individuals whose identity and purpose were closely tied to religious or philosophical systems that emphasized human uniqueness or centrality in cosmic order. Professional counseling services developed specialized protocols for helping people process worldview challenges that exceeded normal therapeutic frameworks. Interfaith dialogue initiatives emerged as religious communities recognized that understanding alien intelligence required collaborative theological analysis that transcended traditional doctrinal boundaries. The crisis had created unprecedented cooperation between religious traditions that had historically maintained competitive or antagonistic relationships. The philosophical implications extended beyond academic and religious communities, as evidence of superior alien intelligence challenged fundamental assumptions about progress, knowledge, and human achievement that underpinned modern civilization's self-understanding. Scientific materialism faced particular challenges, as alien technology that apparently violated physical laws forced reconsideration of assumptions about the relationship between consciousness and physical reality. The evidence suggested that advanced intelligence might possess capabilities that transcended the materialist frameworks that had dominated modern scientific thinking. Alternative spiritual movements experienced growth as people sought belief systems that could accommodate evidence of intelligence, possessing capabilities that exceeded traditional religious concepts, while providing meaning-making frameworks for understanding humanity's place in a universe containing far more advanced consciousness. The crisis also created opportunities for renewed examination of ancient wisdom traditions that might contain insights relevant to understanding non-human intelligence and consciousness. Archaeological and anthropological research into historical accounts of advanced beings gained renewed credibility as scholars examined whether human cultures had previous contact with advanced intelligence. Indigenous spiritual traditions found themselves receiving unprecedented attention as their cosmologies often included concepts of intelligence and consciousness that operated according to principles different from Western rational frameworks. Traditional knowledge systems that had been marginalized by modern academic institutions gained new relevance for understanding alien intelligence. As the religious and philosophical crisis continued developing, the long-term implications became increasingly clear. Humanity was being forced to reconsider fundamental assumptions about consciousness, reality, and their place in a universe that contained intelligence far exceeding their own capabilities. The crisis represented more than theological or philosophical adjustment to new information. It challenged the basic cognitive frameworks that humans use to understand existence, meaning, and purpose, while forcing development of new intellectual and spiritual approaches to questions that exceeded traditional human knowledge and understanding. Whether humanity could successfully adapt their belief systems and philosophical frameworks to accommodate the reality of superior alien intelligence remained unknown, but the attempt was already transforming how humans understood themselves and their relationship to the cosmic order that contained forms of consciousness beyond their comprehension. Patricia Wong had been losing sleep for 6 consecutive nights when her calculations finally confirmed what she had desperately hoped was computational error. Based on trajectory analysis, electromagnetic patterns, and the systematic behavior observed since the first collision, 3IATLAS was positioning itself for another encounter. But this time the incoming object was significantly larger, traveling faster, and approaching from an angle that suggested the collision was not random chance but part of a carefully orchestrated sequence. The prediction models, verified by observatories across 4 continents, indicated that impact would occur in approximately 73 days. The incoming object, designated 2025 XK47 by the Minor Planet Center, measured roughly 800 meters in diameter and was approaching at nearly 120,000 kilometers per hour. The collision would release energy equivalent to approximately 47 hydrogen bombs, providing 3IATLAS with power levels that exceeded anything previously observed. The trajectory analysis indicates systematic targeting rather than coincidental encounters. Wong explained during the classified briefing that had been hastily convened when her predictions became undeniable. The incoming object's approach vector and timing suggest coordination with 3IATLAS's current position and operational requirements. We may be witnessing systematic energy harvesting rather than random cosmic accidents. The implications were staggering beyond comprehension. If 3IATLAS was somehow orchestrating collisions with other objects, it represented capabilities that exceeded every assumption about space-based operations and intelligent control. The technology required for such coordination would involve tracking multiple objects across interplanetary distances while calculating complex gravitational interactions and timing requirements. Amateur astronomers worldwide had been monitoring deep space for additional objects following the first collision, when Carlos Mendez's Chilean observatory detected the approaching body 3 weeks before professional institutions confirmed its existence. His early warning had provided crucial additional observation time for analyzing the object's characteristics and trajectory. "This isn't natural coincidence," Mendez explained in his analysis video that would attract over 60 million views within the first week. Two high-velocity objects striking the same target within months of each other represents astronomical improbability. Unless someone is coordinating these encounters, we're looking at systematic energy collection rather than random impacts. The size and velocity of the approaching object meant that the upcoming collision would dwarf the previous impact in terms of energy release and potential technological enhancement for 3IATLAS. Military analysts examining the prediction data began treating the event as potential capability upgrade that could dramatically increase whatever threats the alien intelligence might represent. The Dr. Michael Torres, coordinating impact analysis from Stanford, calculated that the absorbed energy from the predicted collision could power human civilization for approximately 6 months if converted with perfect efficiency. The energy availability would enable 3IATLAS to undertake construction or operational activities that exceeded anything previously observed. We're looking at energy absorption that would provide power levels equivalent to multiple nuclear reactors operating continuously for years. Torres stated during the classified assessment that examined potential capabilities enhancement following the predicted impact. The technological upgrades possible with such energy availability could transform 3IATLAS from sophisticated reconnaissance system to something approaching omnipotent operational capability. The predictive models also revealed disturbing patterns in the timing and characteristics of both collisions that suggested systematic planning extending across periods measured in years or decades. The coordination required for orchestrating multiple high-velocity impacts indicated either incredible patience or technological capabilities that could manipulate objects across vast distances and time periods. Robert Kim at Stanford, whose strategic analysis expertise had made him a key consultant for intelligence agencies examining 3IATLA, published classified assessments suggesting that the impact sequence represented systematic mission enhancement rather than opportunistic energy collection. The pattern suggests planned capability development occurring according to predetermined schedules that account for mission requirements and operational timelines. Kim wrote in his strategic analysis that painted scenarios involving alien intelligence conducting multi-phase operations with patience that exceeded human strategic planning horizons. We may be observing systematic preparation for activities that require specific energy levels and technological capabilities. International cooperation and impact prediction reached unprecedented levels as space agencies recognized that understanding the collision sequence could provide crucial insights into 3IATLAS's mission objectives and operational planning. Data sharing protocols were implemented that transcended traditional competitive boundaries while maintaining security classifications for sensitive analytical results. The amateur astronomy community organized continuous monitoring networks that provided observation coverage for both 3IATLAS and the approaching object. Their distributed surveillance capabilities often detected subtle changes in behavior or trajectory that professional institutions missed due to equipment scheduling and administrative limitations. Marcus Rodriguez, whose Arizona observatory had become a coordination center for citizen science efforts, established protocols for documenting the pre-collision period, while preparing for the intensive observation campaign that would monitor the impact event and its aftermath. This represents our opportunity to observe alien technology in action with full preparation and comprehensive monitoring coverage, Rodriguez explained in his coordination videos that had become essential viewing for millions of people worldwide. We're going to document every aspect of systematic energy harvesting by intelligence that treats cosmic collisions as routine operational procedures. Military planning for the predicted collision included preparations for scenarios where enhanced capabilities might enable 3IATLAS to demonstrate new technologies or undertake activities that had been beyond its previous operational capacity. Defense agencies worldwide activated monitoring protocols while preparing response options for potential threat escalation. The economic implications of predicted capability enhancement created market volatility that reflected investor uncertainty about how advanced alien technology might affect global economic systems. The possibility that 3IATLAS might demonstrate revolutionary technologies following energy absorption created both opportunities and threats for human industrial development. Religious communities prepared for additional theological challenges as enhanced alien capabilities might approach even closer approximation to divine attributes described in sacred texts. The impact sequence suggested intelligence that possessed patience and planning capabilities that transcended human understanding of time and strategic thinking. Educational institutions modified curricula to help students understand impact prediction methodologies while preparing for observations that might reveal alien technologies exceeding anything previously documented. The upcoming collision represented unprecedented educational opportunities for studying advanced intelligence in active operation. The psychological preparation for witnessing enhanced alien capabilities created anxiety levels that exceeded those associated with the first collision. Mental health professionals prepared for increased consultation demands as people struggled to process implications of intelligence that was systematically becoming more powerful through methods beyond human comprehension. Communication specialists prepared enhanced protocols for potential contact attempts following capability enhancement. The increased energy availability might enable 3IATLAS to undertake communication activities that had been beyond its previous technological capacity, while demonstrating intelligence that had grown even more incomprehensible to human understanding. The timing coordination between multiple impact events raised additional questions about whether 3IATLAS was part of a larger intelligence network that could coordinate activities across vast distances and time periods. The systematic nature of the collision suggested planning capabilities that exceeded individual operational capacity. Amateur radio operators organized intensive monitoring protocols for detecting communication changes that might accompany capability enhancement. The electromagnetic emissions associated with energy absorption and technological development could provide insights into alien intelligence that exceeded any information available through visual observation. The prediction models also examined possibilities for additional collisions beyond the upcoming impact. Pattern analysis suggested that 3IATLAS might continue systematically harvesting energy from coordinated encounters while enhancing its capabilities, according to mission requirements that remained unknown to human analysis. International law specialists examined frameworks for managing potential contact scenarios. If enhanced capabilities enabled 3IATLAS to undertake direct communication or interaction with human civilization, the legal challenges involved preparing for contact with intelligence whose capabilities might exceed every assumption about interspecies interaction. The environmental implications of multiple high-energy collisions created concerns about potential effects on solar system dynamics and planetary stability. The systematic energy harvesting might have consequences for celestial mechanics that exceeded human ability to predict or prevent. Scientific institutions prepared for observations that might challenge additional fundamental assumptions about physics and engineering, as enhanced capabilities revealed technologies that exceeded everything previously documented. The upcoming collision would provide unprecedented opportunities for studying alien intelligence at peak operational capacity. As the countdown to the predicted impact continued, global preparation efforts intensified while humanity braced for witnessing alien technology becoming demonstrably more powerful through systematic energy harvesting that treated cosmic collisions as routine operational procedures. The next impact prediction represented more than scientific forecasting of celestial mechanics. It provided evidence that 3IATLAS operated according to long-term planning that exceeded human strategic thinking while demonstrating capabilities that grew more incomprehensible with each systematic enhancement. We were watching intelligence become increasingly powerful, and we had no idea what it planned to accomplish with those enhanced capabilities. As December 2025 drew to a close, and humanity entered what would become known as the observation period, the world had fundamentally changed in ways that would persist, regardless of what 3IATLAS ultimately chose to reveal about its presence in our solar system. The waiting itself had become transformative, forcing humanity to confront their assumptions about intelligence, technology, and their place in a universe that clearly contained minds far exceeding their own capabilities. Dr. Elena Vasquez, whose trajectory analysis had initiated the global investigation, found herself reluctantly serving as humanity's unofficial spokesperson for alien contact preparation. Her scientific credentials, combined with months of public communication, had made her the voice many people trusted for interpreting developments that exceeded traditional institutional frameworks. We have entered a period where humanity must learn to live with confirmed knowledge that we are not alone in the universe, Vasquez explained during her final comprehensive analysis that would be viewed over 200 million times across all platforms. Regardless of what 3IATLAS ultimately chooses to do, we have already been changed by the experience of confronting intelligence that operates according to principles beyond our understanding. The global monitoring networks established during the crisis had evolved into permanent surveillance systems that would continue operating indefinitely. Amateur astronomers, professional institutions, military tracking networks, and international cooperation protocols had created observational capabilities that exceeded anything previously imagined for space surveillance. The psychological adaptation process varied dramatically across different populations and cultures as humanity developed coping mechanisms for living with cosmic uncertainty. Some communities embraced the challenge of contact preparation, while others retreated into denial or spiritual contemplation of humanity's diminished cosmic significance. Mental health professionals had documented measurable changes in global psychological patterns as people processed evidence of superior intelligence while maintaining normal daily activities and social relationships. The cognitive challenge of integrating alien contact possibilities into routine life decisions had created new categories of existential stress and adaptive behavior. Educational systems worldwide had been permanently modified to include curricula addressing alien intelligence possibilities, while maintaining academic standards for subjects that challenged fundamental assumptions about reality and human knowledge. Students were learning to think beyond anthropocentric frameworks while developing analytical skills for examining phenomena that exceeded traditional disciplinary boundaries. Religious communities had developed diverse theological responses that ranged from interpreting alien intelligence as divine manifestation to viewing it as cosmic challenge requiring renewed spiritual dedication. The diversity of religious adaptation reflected humanity's capacity for finding meaning in circumstances that exceeded previous theological frameworks. International cooperation protocols established during the 3IATLAS crisis had created precedents for managing global challenges that transcended traditional national boundaries and competitive relationships. The experience had demonstrated humanity's capacity for collaboration when confronting threats or opportunities that affected the entire species. Corporate research programs continued developing applications of theoretical alien technology, while preparing for scenarios involving direct knowledge, transfer, or communication with intelligence that possessed capabilities exceeding human understanding by potentially vast margins. The business community had recognized that post-contact economics might require entirely new frameworks for understanding value, productivity, and technological development. Military establishments worldwide maintained enhanced readiness protocols while developing strategic frameworks for scenarios involving intelligence that possessed technological superiority, approaching manipulation of fundamental forces. Defense planning had been forced to consider threats and opportunities that exceeded every historical model for warfare and international relations. The amateur astronomy and citizen science communities had grown to include millions of participants worldwide, who maintained continuous observation of space while contributing to collaborative analysis efforts that often exceeded institutional capabilities. The democratization of alien contact research had created global networks of informed observers who understood the implications of humanity's cosmic situation. Stock markets had stabilized at levels that reflected persistent uncertainty about technological transformation, while maintaining functionality for economic systems that might face revolutionary change, depending on 3IATLAS's ultimate intentions and capabilities. Financial institutions had adapted to planning frameworks that accounted for possibilities ranging from technological utopia to species extinction. Cultural and artistic communities had produced unprecedented volumes of creative expression, exploring themes of alien contact, technological transcendence, and humanity's place in cosmic intelligence hierarchies. The artistic response reflected collective processing of experiences that exceeded normal cultural frameworks, while providing emotional outlets for anxiety and wonder about humanity's cosmic future. Scientific institutions had been permanently transformed by experience, managing research that challenged fundamental assumptions about physics, intelligence, and reality, while maintaining analytical rigor when examining phenomena that exceeded established theoretical frameworks. The scientific community had learned to embrace uncertainty while continuing investigation of questions that might be incomprehensible to human cognitive capacity. The communication networks and information sharing protocols developed during the crisis had created global connectivity that enabled rapid coordination of responses to developments that might affect entire species survival. Humanity had accidentally created communication capabilities that exceeded those required for normal international cooperation, while preparing for contact scenarios involving intelligence beyond human understanding. Agricultural and industrial systems had adapted to planning horizons that accounted for potential technological transformation, while maintaining productivity for populations that might face revolutionary change in resource availability and manufacturing capabilities. The economic sectors had learned to balance routine operations with preparation for scenarios that could eliminate scarcity or render conventional production methods obsolete. Legal and governmental institutions had developed frameworks for managing scenarios involving contact with intelligence that possessed capabilities exceeding human legal and political concepts. The institutional adaptation reflected recognition that post-contact governance might require entirely new approaches to law, authority, and social organization. The environmental implications of confirmed alien intelligence had created both hope for technological solutions to ecological problems and concern about potential consequences of contact with intelligence that might not share human environmental values or priorities. Conservation efforts had been influenced by possibilities ranging from technological salvation to species replacement. Research and development programs worldwide had been redirected toward understanding principles that might be relevant to alien technology, while maintaining progress on human developmental priorities. The balance between species preparation and routine advancement had required careful resource allocation and strategic planning. Transportation and communication infrastructure had been enhanced to support coordination requirements for managing contact scenarios, while maintaining functionality for populations that might face fundamental changes in mobility and information access possibilities. The infrastructure development reflected preparation for post-contact society organization. The waiting period had also revealed something profound about human psychology and social organization when confronted with challenges that exceeded normal experience and planning horizons. Humanity had demonstrated remarkable adaptability while maintaining social cohesion, despite confronting evidence that challenged basic assumptions about their cosmic significance. As the observation period continued and 3IATLAS proceeded through the solar system, while demonstrating capabilities that grew increasingly incomprehensible, humanity had learned to function normally while maintaining awareness that their species was no longer alone in the universe. The waiting game represented more than passive observation of alien intelligence. It had become active preparation for a future that might be fundamentally different from anything in human history, while demonstrating that humanity possessed resilience and adaptability sufficient for confronting challenges that exceeded every previous test of species survival and development. Whether 3IATLAS would ultimately prove beneficial, neutral, or threatening to human interests remained unknown, but the waiting period had already transformed humanity in ways that would persist regardless of the alien intelligence's ultimate intentions or actions. We had learnt to live with cosmic uncertainty while maintaining hope for peaceful contact with intelligence that possessed capabilities approaching manipulation of the fundamental forces governing our universe. The transformation was complete. Humanity had evolved from a species that assumed cosmic isolation to one that operated with full awareness of superior intelligence sharing their solar system. The waiting game had changed everything, and we were no longer the same species that had first detected 3IATLAS entering our cosmic neighborhood. We had become something new, humanity conscious of its place in a universe containing intelligence far exceeding our own capabilities, and somehow we had learned to find hope in that cosmic humility.